Shalom and shalom, Israel. It's your G Militian coming at you live with a new edition of Hebrew Tribes Channel. First off and foremost, giving all glory, honor, and praises to the Most High King of Israel. That's the creator of the universe, Ahaya Sharahaya. That's Exodus 3 and 14. Through the name of Yasha, the Savior. That's Yeshaya, my Savior. Hosanna, Matthew 21 and 9. Through the Holy Spirit, Kakamawa, which is wisdom. That's Proverbs 8 and 9 and 1. What's happening with you, family? Your brother is back. I wanted to get this out to y'all last month, but things got kind of crazy. But I'm going to get to it this lesson right here. Thing about it is, we gotta have a come to Yasha moment. We gotta have a come to Yasha moment because I hear a lot of people that have podcasts, a lot of people that have TV shows, that have great influence, many followers or watchers, viewers, whatever you want to call it. And when these brothers or sisters, in some cases, when they get to talking about scripture, when they get to talking about history, and when they get to talking about society, I cringe sometimes. And sometimes their show's not even about that. Their show will be about relationships, or their show will be about fashion, or you know what I'm saying? Something like that, the job market or something like that. And they're great with that. I listen to a lot of material. You know, the old saying, you got two ears and one mouth, you should listen twice as much as you speak. So if you don't see me dropping videos all the time or whatever, it's not that I'm, just kicking a can down the road. I'm actually taking in information. I'm meditating, I'm praying, and I'm seeing what move I need to make next, not just in life, but also on the channel. Because I feel like me doing this since the beginning is something that I take very seriously. I believe what it says in the book of James about teachers and watchmen, that and I call myself a watchman, by the way, but we're held at a higher standard because what we say, we're responsible for what we say if somebody follows it and we're incorrect on it. So we're gonna get right to it. But I need you black people of the earth, you indigenous of the earth, you need to really listen to this. You need to really listen to this. I encourage anybody that is dealing with somebody that may be caught up in religion, regardless of what religion that is, or people that speak about the Bible falsely, thinking that the people ruling are the people of Israel. Please send them this video. Please, and you could timestamp whatever section, but please send them this video. I don't want to waste any more time. I'm gonna get right into it because who the children of Israel are today is very important. It is paramount. The scriptures are about these people. So who they are and what they represent is absolutely important. And anybody that says differently, that's a satanic doctrine. It's a replacement doctrine. You cannot replace the children of Israel. So saith the scripture. So it's very important. This is a detail that too many have glossed over. And it's time to have a come to Yasha moment. And if you don't know who Yasha is, that's who the world calls Christ. So let's get into it right now with this introduction, family. All right, we're going to get to Genesis chapter 15, verse 13 through 14. And he said unto Abram, this is before he was named Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. So the Most High is telling Abraham, who he made the covenant with, that his seed is going to sojourn in a land that is not theirs, meaning it wasn't originally given to them as their land. This is talking about the children of Israel. They're going to be in a land that is not theirs. They're going to be afflicted for 400 years. 400 years. And the nation that is afflicting them or oppressing them will be judged. And afterwards they will come out with great substance. This is what the Father says. He says, know this of a surety. He didn't say this may happen. There's a chance that he says this is 110% going to happen.
So I'm gonna play this clip real quick.
Listen to the preacher man, but are you talking to me? I came here with a mouth full of pig's feet. Guys shouldn't eat the swine flesh. Your body is a mess, but you're blessed with the Father, Son, Spirit, and the Holy Ghost. But my whole neighborhood is comatose. Look, the devil made you a slave and he gave you a Bible. 400 years of getting our ass kicked by so-called Christians and Catholics.
400 years, same philosophy. 400 years, 400 years, 400 years, and my people, they still can't see. Why do they fight against the youth of today? And without youth, you would be gone, all gone astray. Come on, now that the time has come. Fools don't see, fools don't see. But I know the weak and strong. So come with me to a land of liberty. To God, where we can live our life and be free. 400 years, 400 years, 400 years, the same philosophy. 400 years, 400 years, 400 years.
All pirates, yes, they rob I, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Ooh, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of
And ride all the time, not just when convenient.
Justice and freedom, wisdom and understanding. We the lost children of Israel in this Western world region. You ain't a man, you a coward if you can't support the girl you put a seed in.
Strong rule the weak, but the wise rule the strong. It's more to a war than just getting in.
Somebody tell Gerardo this got some ambition. I'm not a politician, I'm not about a religion. I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more. That word is only a color, it ain't facts no more.
Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Not about a religion, I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more. That word is only a color, it ain't facts no more.
Say what?
I'm not about a religion, I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more. That word is only a color, it ain't facts no more. My cousin Carl, the word said know my words. And Deuteronomy say that we all been cursed. I know he walks the earth, but it's money to get. Somebody tell Gerardo this got some ambition. I'm not a politician, I'm not about a religion. I'm an Israelite, don't call me black no more. That word is only a color, it ain't facts no more. My cousin My cousin Carl Duckworth said, know my worth. And Deuteronomy say that we all been cursed. I know he walks the earth, but it's money to get.
Israelites.
Yeah, zeros to flip.
Israelites.
Temptation is, yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you, and I want you to ask yourself as I go through this lesson, who does this fit? Who does this fit, family? Were the JW15 people, were they afflicted for 400 years in a land that wasn't theirs? And did the nation that afflicted them, were they judged? We're going to see if the children of Israel are who we're told by CBN and TBN and the Christian churches that are under a 501c3 contract, and what the ruling powers are saying are the children of Israel, or is it somebody else? Because what you're dealing with, Israel, is a case of stolen identity. And I want you to treat it as if somebody has your social security card, somebody has your wallet, somebody has your license and ID or passport, and is out there doing things in your name. That's what I want you to treat this as, because this is what's going on. Let me continue. Acts 7 and 6, because some people will say, oh, well, that 400 years is talking about the children of Israel in Egypt, which we're going to cover that too. But we're going to see what Acts 7 and 6 says. And Ahiah spake this on the wise, and spake on this wise, that his seed shall sojourn in a land, and that they shall bring them into bondage. Bondage is slavery. They shall bring them into bondage and entreat them evil for 400 years. This is Acts. This is way after Egypt. Matter of fact, Acts was written after, took place after the death of Yasha, after the death of Christ. They're still talking about that this shall happen. Not it did happen, it shall happen. Let's keep reading. Let's get to Luke 21 and 24. And this is the words of Christ, okay? Because one thing that kind of pisses me off is I see these pro-blackity blacks, right, who think black people can do no wrong. They're following the ancestors. They don't know who the ancestors are, what ancestors that they're following. You know, getting into root work and Santeria and Palamuyambe and all this other witchcraft, thinking that that's what we're supposed to do. No, you're going to find out through this lesson that that exact activity, or those exact activities, is why we're in the position that we're in right now. I want you to really think about this, because we're going to cover some documentaries as we go through this. Because the thing about it is, they write what I'm giving you now, they write in books. They don't put it on TVs and shows and movies, but they write it in books. They put it in their studies. And I'm going to show some of those studies here. I pray that Ahiah allow this video to go forward. Because what I hear some of these people say is, where was Christ during slavery? You know, Christ, people will say, oh, I want to thank the Most High in Christ that I was able to get a job, that I was able to afford a car, I was able to do whatever I was trying to do. And somebody will be like, well, where was Christ during slavery? Christ warned our forefathers about this. Moses did as well. We're going to get more into that. But we're going to read the words of Christ. And I want you to ask yourself, you pro-blacks, you super pro-blacks, who is he talking about here? Luke 21 and 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. The sword of today is the modern day gun. They shall fall by it. Fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive. That's captivity. Captive into all nations. And Jerusalem, the land, shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. Gentiles means non-Israelite people. Doesn't matter if they're Hebrew. These are non-Israelite people that are going to be trodden down the land until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. I'm going to read it all the way through. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Who does that fit, family? Who was falling by the edge of the sword and led away into captivity into all nations? Does this fit the black and indigenous peoples of the earth? Or does this fit the JW15 people that are ruling? You're going to get this work on this lesson, family. Stay tuned. We're going to get into Deuteronomy 28. And before I get into that section, Deuteronomy 28 isn't the only chapter that talks about this. Because I've actually seen on some Christian pages when brothers like myself, sisters that come into the truth will be like, hey, you know, we're Israel. I'm an Israelite. You know, I'm an Israelite. I found out who I am through the text and through study and everything else, like most of us have, unless somebody, you know, came and brought us into the truth, which they did the study. And you got people that will say, you know, oh, those are them Deuteronomy 28 niggas. You know, their whole doctrine. Not seen podcasts with this too, with Christian brothers, mostly Gentile, right? That'll say this is how they came to this conclusion from one chapter. See, because this is the problem with false doctrine, is that many people that teach false doctrine or believe false doctrine, they take one scripture out of context. Usually it'll be a whole paragraph. They'll take a half of a sentence and run with it. Which I covered plenty of times before. But we're going to show as we go forward in this that it's more than just Deuteronomy 28. The Most High is showing over and over what is the fate of the children of Israel throughout history and in the last days. Just as Yasha has said right here. So with that being said, family, stay tuned. We're going to move forward with this. Okay, so this is the prophecy of the children of Israel, according to Deuteronomy 8, with precepts throughout the scriptures that back up what Deuteronomy 8 says. Deuteronomy 28 says, as we just read in Genesis 15, 13 through 14, the Most High told Abram, know of a surety that this will happen to your children. They will be afflicted 400 years. So as I go through this chapter and read the precepts, ask yourself, who does this fit? Who we were told it is, or somebody else? And I'm speaking directly to you Negroes. I need y'all to wake up, man. I need y'all to wake up. Because I'm gonna go in on this one. This is a rant video. It's been some years, probably some months. It's time for me to go left. Righteously, of course. If you get what I'm saying, if you get the drift. So let me get it. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 16. Now, just as a side note, the verses 1 through 15, it shows what would happen if Israel did right, which Israel did not do. But if the children of Israel did right, it talked about how they will be set up as kings. They will be rulers. They will be the masters of their own domain. And when you speak on the time when we were in rulership, when you speak on the Blackamoors, when you speak on kings in Africa, the black kings, you know, the black rulership in Central Asia, and even in Asia, it gets mocked and laughed at, which I'm gonna go into some studies higher willing later on this year on that. But because we have become a mockery. And I'm gonna go into how that became, because we turned our backs on the Most High, man. We turned our backs on God, man. So Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68 describes why the curses would come upon Israel and what curses would come upon the children of Israel. Ask yourself who it fits. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 16. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. So, as we see, which a lot of brothers are talking about now, is the migration of the African Americans, so-called, from the South to the West Coast, to the East Coast, to up north. A lot of that came because most of the slavery, you know, King Cotton was dealing with the South. That was the Southern thing mostly. That was what the Civil War was about. It wasn't about they wanted to fight to have us free and enjoy freedom. It was more about the money, you know, because the Northerners, though they did involve themselves in slavery, it wasn't the cotton trade, which was the most profitable, which was done mainly in the Southern states. So we found out that, you know, through that moving around, we were cursed everywhere. In the South, in my state of Texas, as a black man, no matter how old you are, you could be 38, you could be 45, you could be 56, you could be 24. At any age, there was a law once. If you were walking down the street, any white person, or so-called white person, excuse me, could stop you and ask you to identify yourself and question you where you're going. It didn't have to be a so-called cop. It could have been a 12-year-old white boy or a 12-year-old white girl. They could have stopped you, and if you didn't comply, you were now breaking the law. That was the law. Like Jim Crow, all that, those were laws. These are part of the curses. Let me keep reading. So we're gonna go to Joel now, 11 through 13, where it speaks on some of these things. It says, "Be ye ashamed, O ye husbandmen! How, O ye vine dressers! For the wheat and the barley, because of the harvest of the field, is perished. The vine is dried up, and the fig tree also, and the apple tree, even all the trees of the field are withered, because joy is withered away from the sons of men. Gird yourselves and lament, ye priests. How, ye ministers of the altar? Come, lie all night in sackcloth, ye ministers of the power of Ahiah. For the meat offering and the drink offering is withholden from the house of your power." This is what the Most High is saying in Joel. This mirrors what he's saying in Deuteronomy 28. The field was very important. Husbandry had to do with sharecropping, had to do with farming. Back in the day, that was basically if a young man wanted to get married or, you know, move forward in life, his goal was to own land, property. That was the currency of old. When we had bartering systems, not that money didn't exist, but it was a bartering system. If I had a young daughter who was a maiden of marrying age, and a young man was to come to me and say, "Hey, sir, I would like to," they would come to the father because there was order. "I would like to have your daughter's hand in marriage." And of course, I would have to see and not vindicate, what's the word I want to use? Verify that this young man could take care of my daughter. He would then pay a dowry unto me. That was the fee. Then he would marry her up. I'll make sure he was a man of character. I would make sure that he had substance to take care of her. I don't want her coming back to me asking me for stuff when she got a husband, because the husband was her covering. I'm no longer her covering. That was the whole thing with the weddings, when the woman has the veil on her head and she takes the veil off and kisses her husband, because now he is that covering. That's symbolically, because of course our women had head coverings. That's an Israelite thing, okay? But if you understand that having that field, having that was very important. This is why the 40 acres and the mule thing was very important. They knew if they gave Negroes that, we would have surpassed them a long time ago. This is a promise from the government that never came through. You understand what I'm saying, Israel? Because they know what would have happened. Look how much they tried to keep their foot on our neck, and we still prosper in this land, in the world even. So husbandry, the field was very important. It wasn't just the city. See, I talked about the city. Now I'm talking about the field. The field had to do with ownership, land, being able to grow your own food. This is why the industrialization of America was such a big thing, because now instead of having your own chickens, cows, eggs, and everything else and farmland, now you got to run the Walmart, you got to run the Target and all these other places, whatever I don't go there, but whatever they call them, you know, the HEBs and whatnot, and the farm and the market, but you don't have anything to bring to the market. You're actually buying from the market.
The months following the Civil War and the start of Reconstruction
offered African Americans in the South hope for equality. It also offered the possibility of owning land. Within months, African Americans would be betrayed by a harsh reality.
Well, so far as I understand President Lincoln's proclamation to the rebellious states, it is that if they would lay down their arms and submit to the laws of the United States before the 1st of January, 1863, then all should be well. But if they did not, then all the slaves of the rebel states should be free, henceforth and forever. That is what I understood.
State what you understand by slavery and the freedom that was to be given by the President's proclamation.
Slavery is the receiving by irresistible power the work of another man, and not by his consent. This freedom, as I understand it, promised by the proclamation, is taking us from under the yoke of bondage and placing us where we can reap the fruit of our labor, take care of ourselves, and help the government maintain our freedom.
Well, this is bound to happen when a community of people have been continually disenfranchised from one of the world's most vital industries: food, cotton, sugarcane, and so many more agricultural products necessary and never receiving a share of the profit.
You probably heard the phrase 40 acres and a mule. Here's what happened. In January 1865, a meeting in Savannah, Georgia, between Union military leader General William Tecumseh Sherman and a group of 20 black ministers resulted in a plan to redistribute confiscated and abandoned Confederate land from South Carolina to Florida. They called the land Sherman's Reserve. Newly freed slaves would be allocated 40 acres of land along with a mule. The phrase, which became well known even then, spread quickly. As part of his Reconstruction Plan, actually intended to appease the former Confederacy, President Andrew Johnson abruptly canceled the order, giving the land back to its previous owners.
So whenever they shut that down, whenever the trucks stop rolling and you don't have any storehouses now, what happens? You dig what I'm saying? So we were cursed in both of those areas, because if you notice with the hangings, when they used to hang black men mostly, they were hanging people that were store owners, that owned resources. They weren't just hanging the average guy that, just washed windows, though they were sometimes. But this is something I need you to understand, Israel. They were hanging the best of us. They were targeting the best of us. You understand what I'm saying? If you look at the Malcolm X story, his father was preaching like this, waking people up, telling them, hey, we really need to get out of here and go back to Africa, because nothing here is for us. And that's what he got killed. So this is what I need y'all to understand. They don't want the Negroes waking up. That's why they keep you so distracted. Okay, and you're cursed everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in the field, because even today, when you go to some of these backwoods in these countries, you'll see Confederate flags and everything else. You'll get strung up out there and nobody will do any investigations. We see stories like this all the time. And then you come to the city and you'll get shot by a cop unjustly and they don't care. Nobody will go to jail. And this is a fate that you have to understand still exists, Israel. Deuteronomy 28:17-19. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land and the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Again, that's just what I was speaking on. Excuse me. When you leave, you're cursed. When you come back, you're still cursed.
Yeah, it's all right.
Iowa. Where are you from?
Texas.
Hey, man.
What are you doing out here? Hey, what's going on?
Leave us alone, Herman. We're just talking.
Listen, we don't need you talking to her, okay?
Hey, I said leave us alone. We're just talking about the ocean.
This nigger's trying to pick up on Barbara. That's what's wrong.
Hey, Phil, what's wrong with you? You got a problem? You already got trouble.
I'm not.
Just trying to be polite.
No, you're not. You're talking about the ocean.
Hey there. Ezekiel Rollins. You can take those cuffs off if you want to cooperate. Sir, I'm cooperating. Turning about 5 a.m. What you mean? It means this morning. I was out drinking. I carried a friend into his house. I don't know. I could have been on my way home. I don't know. I ain't looking no clock.
2 sizes too big for him. He came in and said I could go. The game of cops and niggas kept up outside the station, but I hardly even noticed. I had seen dead bodies before.
Growing up in the hood, we were used to getting sweated by the cops. I mean, they would follow us in the car, then turn away.
Good. Spread your legs.
Hey, man, this motherfucking hood is hot.
I can't burn up, all you boys like barbecue.
Shut up.
You got a smart ass mouth.
Get on there.
What's up, reading my motherfucking rights?
Sit down. Shut up.
You're moving.
Fuck this, man.
Stop fucking moving.
Stop it. I'll just wait. Doing stop that.
I told you quit fucking moving.
As a week of pretrial motions ended today in the case of the 4 Los Angeles policemen already indicted in the Rodney King beating, the county grand jury signaled that will be the extent of the criminal case. 17 other so-called police bystanders at the beating scene will not be indicted. A development notice.
You're still dealing with the same oppression. And this is because you turned your back on the Most High, Israel. And if not you, though we all have, mainly your forefathers did. And this is what came upon the children of Israel. You can't find that this fits any other nation other than the children of Israel, you Negroes and you indigenous of the earth. Let me read a precept of that. Habakkuk 3:17. Although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall the fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, and the field shall yield no meat. The flock shall be cut off from the fold, and there shall be no herd in the staffs. Again, we don't have those farmlands that we used to have. That's how it used to be back in the day. Where are they now? They used to kill the sharecroppers. That was the whole Jim Crow thing, was the thing to target the sharecroppers, the men that owned the land and the farmland. That's why people like my grandfather had to leave Mississippi. The KKK was chasing him up out of there. He had to go into Detroit, the city. And he's still cursed up. Nothing's changed. You dig what I'm saying? Deuteronomy 28:20. Ahiah shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thine settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings whereby thou hast forsaken me. This is why you see things happen like, I know there's a lot of controversy about it, but like the things that happened to Nipsey Russell, the things that happened to when brothers start these businesses. I think it was a guy that started like a popcorn thing. And the city came and shut them down. When we see other nations will start these restaurants in the hood, dirty as hell, floors nasty, grimy. They dropping stuff on the floor, putting it back in the pot. These Chinese food restaurants, and they never get shut down. Nobody says anything. You can't touch them. Matter of fact, they were beating women out of the hair stores, and they're still getting frequented by the same black women that was getting beaten down in these stores. And I've showed this to you, Israel. Do you not see? And the reason why part of the reason why we can't prosper is because we haven't came into the realization of who we are. Who you are as a people matters. The only people that think it doesn't matter are your enemy and the coons that think like your enemy. Brothers talking about classism is worse than racism. Are you serious? Have you not seen when black people come into large amounts of money that there's still certain communities that will not accept them? The higher up communities, the so-called white man? Have you not seen in countries like where Kamala Harris comes from, India, they have a caste system, Israel. And yes, some of our people are we're in the four corners. But I'm saying you see this pattern play out over and over. The system is against you. This is why it's systematic racism. It's not just somebody don't like you and call you a name. This is embedded in the system.
And I say to the woman, excuse me, may I see that bag right above your head? And she says to me, no, it's too expensive. And I said, no, see the black one, the one that's folded over, and she said, no, you don't want to see that one. You want to see this one because that one will cost too much. You will not be able to afford that. And I said, well, no, I really did want to see that one. And she refused to get it. She refused to get it. And she started to show me these other little bags. And I said, one more time I tried, I said, but I really do just really want to see that one. And she said, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. And I said, okay, thank you so much. You're probably right. I can't afford it. And I walked out of the store. Now, why did she do that?
The luxury shop has denied discrimination against the billionaire celebrity and put the misunderstanding down to a language barrier.
There can be no question of that. I welcome every customer, and every customer is viewed as a king. This has nothing to do with racism. I think it was rather a communications problem between the employee, who is actually Italian and who speaks Italian, but also English, but just not as well as Mrs. Oprah.
This one.
What?
The LA home of basketball star LeBron James was vandalized overnight. Now, police say it was a hate crime. KCON's Dave Lopez live in Brentwood. He's got new details on that investigation. Dave, what's going on?
Well, Sandra, we're on Rockingham Drive. If that sounds familiar, that's where O.J. lived. But we're in the South Rockingham. North Rockingham is where O.J. lived across Sunset. But behind me is the I guess you would call it the summer home of LeBron James. Very few people even knew that he had a home here. He paid $20 million for this a few years ago. It's just under 10,000 square feet. And what you're looking at is the gate to the entryway. And that is the gate that we are told that was vandalized, if you will. It was spray painted with the N-word. We are told that it was quite large and it almost went the extension of the gate. The man who was in charge of keeping security here for Mr. LeBron James painted over it before police even got here before 7 o'clock this morning, but he took a picture. So police arrived, there was no damage whatsoever, and he said, here's the photo of what I painted over. And that will probably become part of a public record, but not until tomorrow.
And we were so busy, and I'm speaking strictly about myself now, so busy trying to prove that we were good enough and that the system had changed and everything was going to be equal now. And we just got to prove to white people that we are good enough and that all of those stereotypes that they had about us were wrong. So we spent, and I'm saying we, but I mean I, spent a lot of time trying to prove that negative. And I learned something very important. You cannot prove a negative.
So when you try to prosper and do things, they get cut down. Then many times when you try to prosper and do things, you're doing the wrong things. BMF. Huh? Alpo. Paid in Full. That movie, y'all remember that movie? Those guys were very successful at doing the wrong thing. And what happened? Look at Tyler Perry. He's made billions from running around in a dress, committing abomination, making a mockery. Run around talking about Jesus and he wearing a dress and fake breasts. And y'all don't think nothing's wrong with that because you're spiritually blind. All you care about is entertainment and being successful in the secular. No kind of spiritual understanding, all wickedness.
I'm just telling you all when I first met Tyler Perry. When Tyler Perry did interviews with Oprah and everybody said, where you come up with the character, Madea? Oh, I get it from my aunties and growing up, my aunties and my aunts and my grandmother. I used to see them and blah, 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 blah. He would come to the show, he'd sit up under the spotlight, he would sit back down behind the camera, and he never wanted us to take photos, of him. He never wanted us to video him. Even he even said, now, if they start taking pictures and stuff, I'm leaving. Say, Tyler Perry hanging out at this gay club. Is this his hangout? Blah, 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 blah. Is he living two different lives? So all these people to the play, he ain't put me in no play. Reason that he didn't want us to take pictures and to video him while he was there was because he saw the bigger picture. Right. He coming to the show, he gonna steal all my shit, he gonna go and put on this wig, and he's gonna become Miss Sophia himself and call his Miss Sophia Madea. So it's like, oh.
And that's why we're destroyed. That's why. It starts at the core. Psalms 106 and 29. Thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and the plague break in upon them. This is what happens. Our inventions, that means things that you come up with, right? These things that we're coming up with to do, they're angering the Most High. These crawfish boils and stuff like that, that's what's bringing the plague or the diseases upon us. And I have to be careful talking about that. I'm not a doctor, but you can do your own research on this. And find out why Black people lead in all these diseases. Is not a coincidence. You keep going against the Most High, you're going to keep losing in life. Let's get it. Let's get to Deuteronomy 28, 21 through 23. Ahiah shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee off the land whither thou goest to possess it. Ahiah shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever and with an inflammation and with an extreme burning and with the sword and with blasting and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. Speaking about, like I just said, with the food, for example, look at soul food. I've went over this plenty of times.
Just what joy do you get out of trying to crush all of my dreams, Huey? Do you know how long I wanted to own my own restaurant?
3 weeks at Sunday dinner. That was the first time you mentioned it. And you only started doing the stupid Sunday dinner thing because you saw soul food on cable. We're gonna pause this for the benefit of all y'all who never saw Soul Food. Soul Food is a movie about a big, humongous Black grandmother, aptly named Big Mama. Big Mama demonstrates her love by feeding herself and her offspring enormous amounts of pig lard. Then, get this, Big Mama's arteries are so clogged, they gotta amputate her arm.
It was her leg.
Right, okay, whatever, leg. Then, she dies of a heart attack. Or another stroke, or something.
God called her home.
And what does the family do after she dies? They get together for a Sunday dinner and eat the same food that just killed Big Mama. The same food. They didn't learn a lesson. Nobody went on a diet, and that's the end of the movie.
Went through all that, eating all this abomination on the wrong day. You understand? After they got done worshiping the sun god, coming home eating this abomination, the grandma died due to that. These numbers matter, man, because they show that this is true. And as far as heaven over thy head brass and the earth that is up under thee shall be iron, what you think the prison system is? What you think that these streets are? People praise the streets. People in my family, people I've dealt with in the past, they praise the streets. The streets don't love you. How many times does that have to be said to us? Ain't nothing. King Von, that 5-hour video, millions of views, which I'm not jealous of, but that is a perfect representation of what I'm bringing out here. Doing the wickedness and praising something that's a curse. Praising that the streets is hard. Why would you want to be out there then? Wouldn't you want to do better? Now, of course, some of us was brought up that way, brought into that. But is it helpful or is it hurtful? Think about that, Israel. Matthew 11, 20 through 23. Then began he to upbraid the cities where most of his mighty works were done, because they repented not. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. That goes back to the sackcloth, like it was saying to you preachers, you ministers, you ought to be in sackcloth because the Most High ain't dealing with you. The preachers, they ain't in sackcloth, they in robes and fine linen and clothing and telling you Christ gonna get you a car and a house.
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming?
And all this, and not telling you to keep the law, return to the Most High, who you are as the children of Israel. Because they can't tell you that because they're under a contract with the same people, the same system that's oppressing you. It's called 501c3. So they will never tell you this. They will never tell you to get right spiritually. They're just going to tell you you're going to be blessed. Just have faith and hope. Faith without works is dead, family. I can want to be a doctor and have faith and hope all I want, but if I don't take my behind to school and learn and do all the things I need to do and work an internship, whatever they call it, do that and then move forward in that, I can sit here and hope all I want and watch all the ER movies I want to. It's not going to help. You got to work for that, man. So you have to work for the kingdom of the Most High too. So where am I at here? But yeah, he was saying to these people, if the works and stuff that he was doing back then had been done in Tyre and Sidon, which I don't have in here, but you can go look up what happened to those cities. That he said, if I did the same thing I'm doing with y'all, if I did it back then, they would have repented. Why are you not repenting? Let me read some more before I continue. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon in the day of judgment, or excuse me, at the day of judgment, than for you. And thou, Capernaum, which art exalted unto heaven, shall be brought down to hell. For if the mighty works which have been done in thee have been done in Sodom, it would have remained unto this day. Christ is telling you, if what he was doing, the miracles that was happening in that time had been done in Sodom and Gomorrah, it would have remained because they would have seen, believed, and repented. What does repent mean? It means to turn away from what you're doing. Obviously, you're doing it wrong. Talk about you don't need to change. What's the point of coming to Christ then? Come as you are. Yeah, come as you are and to change. You don't have to change and come. Once you accept him and follow him, meaning follow the word, we're gonna get more into that. Follow the truth. You will be changed. You will be a different creature. Yeah, you used to run around with gangs and do all this, but now you realize who you are, what you're called to do, and that ain't it. Now maybe you can go prophesy to those gangs, the same ones that you was running with. That's what you can do. Tell them to get on the right foot instead of keep playing out a system that's incorporating these curses upon us. But yeah, people not gonna do it. And these cities, before I continue, these cities that he's praising, I actually looked them up when I read that verse. I'm like, Capernaum, what cities are these? These were the cities that were praised by the Israelites of that day. This would be like a New York, a Chicago, a LA, a Houston, a Miami. And when you go to these cities, what do you see? Nothing but the fulfillment of these curses and their praise. People want to go travel there to partake in the curses and partake in the idolatry and sin and fornication and all this stuff that goes with it. Let me continue. So who does this fit? Who does this fit? Deuteronomy 28 and 24. Ahiah shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come upon thee until thou be destroyed. So the thing about it is, when you see these storms, right? When you see these tornadoes, when you see these events, what they call acts of nature or acts of God in the legal system, like if you're a lightning bolt hits your house and catch fire, under your insurance, it would be called an act of God, right? When you look at these acts of God or acts of Ahiah around the world, especially over here in the West where we at, who's disproportionately affected by that? Katrina? Haiti? Don't get me started on the other islands. When those islands get hit by those storms, they are disproportionately affected. Those rich people will donate to their blood suckers of the Red Cross and all these, and all they'll do is just get the people out the way, and they'll build new resorts and stuff like that on the land. You seen what happened in Hawaii, right? With Oprah. This is something that you got to start paying attention to. Why are the storms hitting these indigenous people, these black people around the earth? And just, I mean, you don't even want to talk about what goes on in Africa and that side of the world. This is a reason that this stuff is happening. Now, of course, it's going to hit all four corners, not just, but who's disproportionately affected by this? It's not hard to see because we turned our backs on Ahia. Let me read the precept. Isaiah 29:6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and with great noise and with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. It's even to the point that these people got a HARP system where it's been shown that these people are targeting areas and making things happen with seismographs and stuff like that. But that stuff gets swept under the rug. But you don't sweep the truth you don't sweep the lies under the rug. You sweep the truth under there. Okay, let's get to Deuteronomy 28:25. Ahia shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. This is why when people talk about, you know, forming these gangs like they were back in the day to fight against the system, well, what happened? When the Black Panthers split up, they became the Bloods and the Crips. Blood, brotherly love overcoming oppressive dominion, and Crips, community resistance and progress. So the Bloods would be like, hey, and if you do your research in the 60s, the late 60s, matter of fact, they didn't have, like, those guys wouldn't have recognized the gangs now. Because if something would happen, the Bloods would be like, hey, this is my blood brother. I'm here on behalf of him. And it'd be like, you know, might be 20, 30 people out there. So the cops and the people oppressing them would be less likely to do so with all these Negroes around here. Same thing with Crips. Oh, this is a community resistance and progress. We're resisting your tyranny against us. But what did it turn into, Israel? What did the Bloods and Crips turn into? And it's crazy. I had to ask somebody once. I had to ask somebody, you know, that was kind of tap dancing around this issue. And I straight up asked them, would you want your daughter to go join the gang? Would you want your son to go join the gang? And this person wanted to tap dance around the damn issue. What is going to prosper them from doing that, family? You think it's more likely they're going to end up owning their own law practice or needing to pay a law practice to try to get out of a bind where they got caught up in? What's more likely?
Come to get me early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and said, come with me, man. It's a crate of guns in the alley. And I got up and ran out there, and sure enough, there was a crate of guns. And during that time when we in it, you're not thinking about where did the guns just come from. You know, you never think about that type of stuff, like where did the guns come from and why are they here? But now that I'm older, I can kind of tell you that it's a diabolical plot. Nothing is stopped. The guns are still there. The guns are still being placed in these different strategic communities. It's a plan. It's not out in Bridgeview. It's not out in, you know, Westmount. You know, they're putting it in the hundreds for sure. Yeah, they're putting it on 55th. They're putting it in Inglewood. You know, 6:30 in the morning while older people that's at work, you know, you sleep. You're not outside. So, you know, you got the streetwalkers and the people that's out, you know, they hustling and they out all types of day. And yeah, they're the ones that's going to run across them. And who would go and tell the police? I never went to go tell the police when we found some guns. That don't even make sense. Why would you go tell the police? You know? So people are wondering why so much violence. You know, think about it. You think about this. Okay, the police are locking people up constantly in Chicago every single day. They're taking guns off the street every single day, every day. So how is it that all of these guns just keep appearing? Where are all the guns coming from? Nobody's going to the gun store buying these guns. I was so used to having exotic guns that I thought that was the norm. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying far as, I don't know if you know, are you familiar with guns, but a fully automatic handgun is almost impossible to get. You know what I'm saying? A fully automatic assault rifle, that's not common. It may sound common, but that's not common. A Uzi that's fully automatic, that's not common. So I was so used to having everything in the area that I knew of was fully. It shot fully automatic, fully. So me being 17 and 18 and in my 20s, I was so naive that I believed that's how all guns was. I seen so many different exotic guns on the street running around in different areas with the guys just running around. I thought that was the norm. So now I'm an older gentleman. I'm out here, I switch my life around. I'm living right, So now I cleared my name up and got my record sealed. And I'm going to the gun shop now. I'm going to the shooting range, shooting like I'm supposed to. And I go into gun stores and I'm asking for certain guns and they looking at me like I'm crazy. Like I made that gun up. These are guns that I've seen several times in different areas that the gun store is saying, how would that be on the street? That's something that you would have to get specialized, customized. You see what I'm saying? But
King.
A term of 2 years in prison on that count. As to count 3 of that case, the robbery, which is also a felony of the second degree, the court orders that the defendant shall serve a term of 2 years on that count as well.
Like a brother, ex-convict said, once he got out, changed his life, started his business, he said, how he judges things now is somebody presents something to him, whether it's to go sell drugs or go join a gang or go do whatever to try to move up or move forward. He asks himself and them, how is this going to help prosper me, my kids, and my family for the future? How is this going to prosper them and sustain them? Because you could prosper for a little while, but you won't be able to sustain it. They will catch up with you. There's people they pay tens of thousands of dollars, some of them hundreds of thousands, to persecute cases, to persecute these people that are doing these crimes, these people that are moving in tons and tons of product in. So again, it's right here in your face, man. So where was I at? Oh yeah, and shall be removed in all kingdoms of the earth. So let's get to 2 Chronicles 29:8. Wherefore the wrath of Ahiah was upon Judah and Jerusalem, and he had delivered them to trouble, to astonishment, to hissing, as you see with your eyes. When you see these videos on World Star, when you see these sisters out here, like the one in Mississippi that sit up here and had her infant or our toddler son freezing in the cart,
Few. One woman finds herself in the crosshairs of social media after some say she failed her job miserably. That woman in Mississippi apparently brought her child into a Walmart in cold-ass temperatures, wearing only a diaper. A Walmart employee who goes by Fifi Nicole on Facebook said she videotaped it out of concern, but was later fired from the retail giant as a result. This is after posting the video of the mother who brought the child to the store in a diaper.
He came in here without that jacket on. Yeah, he did. That baby just had a pamper on. That's all he got on. Somebody call police. No, what's wrong with you? Somebody call police on her. Who are you? Lower my voice. Lower your voice. Who are you? Get out that man. Get out that man, please. The crazy. What the hell? Somebody call police on her.
All of this was upsetting for people in the store. One person took it upon themselves to put a sweater on the child. The child at one point even had on a plastic bag or some sort of item on him. Joining us.
People are astonished at these things. When you see like this King Von thing I was talking about earlier, people are astonished. Like, man, this is wild. Is how they live. This is how they doing. Though not all of us, of course, are living and doing those things. But why does this get pushed on us? Is there any nation, I want y'all to think, is there any nation where they take the worst of that nation and they promote it all over social media, all over the news, all over everywhere, TV, mainstream media? Is there any other nation where you see that? Any other nationality where you see that? Not that they don't get, talked about, but do they get promoted? They promote the word. They done turned these strippers into rappers and let them talk to the damn president, y'all. Y'all gonna get this work, man. Yeah, but yeah, then like I said, and to hissing as you see with the eyes, people see us. When people moving into an area of town and they see a lot of us out there, or any of us, they might just see they might be in a part of time where there's none of us and one of us will move. Damn, she about to bring some over here. It was quiet and peaceful. And I've dealt with this from my own people even. Been times when we getting ready to go to the club and they'll look at the group. Nah, you brothers can't get in. Why? You out of dress code. You got the grill in. I don't like your shoes. Your shirt, your clothes is too baggy. What? This guy you just let in, we the same size. We wearing the same thing almost. Collar, shirt, and everything. They don't want you, Israel. You are barred from it because this ain't your system. All this is this ain't your country, Israel. You think I'm lying? Imagine if we invaded the White House like the other nation did on January 6th. What do you think would happen? Not just to those people that did it, but what do you think would happen worldwide? Countrywide, if some Negroes ran into the Capitol with guns and somebody got killed? Man, you're talking about Purge 2.0. You're going to have to wake up at one point. Deuteronomy 28 and 26. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. You look at gator bait Negroes. This is a practice that they had in Florida, in the Everglades, and also in Louisiana when they were dealing with hunting alligators. They would take an infant baby from the sleeping mother, usually from anywhere from 2 months up to 8 months. They didn't want them at walking age or even crawling age. And they would put these babies out in the field and use them as bait. That's why they call them gator bait Negroes, in order to hunt these animals.
Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
Over the years, I've been collecting artifacts. As a matter of fact, I've been collecting little pencils like this. I've seen alligators on jars. I've seen alligator ashtrays, and I've seen them depicted with kids in it. And I was wondering why the children would be there. As a matter of fact, this particular pencil sharpener, this is a pencil sharpener or a pencil holder with a black head of a baby sitting out of its mouth. I didn't pay any attention. I have been collecting for quite a few years, and I have the posters and things like that about different things. And then one day I was down in Florida. I'd gone down with my wife, and I took a trip for myself off to the Wild Blue Yonder, going out to hunt artifacts. And in my quest to hunt artifacts, I came upon a pawn shop in Sanford, Florida. In the pawn shop was a gentleman who owned it. They went and got him and told him I was there, and I wanted to buy some of the shackles he had hanging around the walls. I asked him, could I buy them? He said no. He didn't want to sell anything. He just wanted me to see it. Then we began to talk. And I asked him, I said, look, please let me buy something. I got to take something from here. He says, no. He says, I don't want to sell anything. He said, but I'm going to the back and I'll sit down. Meanwhile, he came out and came back out and he began to talk to me. He said, you know, he said, you probably don't know this. He said, but years ago, he said, my grandfather, before he died, told me of the things they would do. He said he would go down. He said his grandfather said they would go down and they would take babies with them. I said, what do you mean babies? He says, well, let me tell you. He said the slaves who had babies, they would steal the babies during the course of the day, sometimes when the mothers weren't washing. I said, what do you mean babies? I said, you mean babies like 5 or 6 years old? He says, no. These babies, some would be infants, some would be a year old. He said some would be toddlers. He said they would grab these children and take them down to the swamp and leave them in pens like little chicken coops. They would go down there at night, take these babies and tie them up because they hunted the big bull alligators. These big bull alligators were not raised on the farms. They were in the wild. These alligators would weigh 600, 700, 800 pounds. Those are the ones they wanted. They would skin them, make the wallets, get the meat, do different things with them. He said, but what they were doing was tie them up, put a rope around their neck and around their torso, around here, and tie it tight. He said, I said, well, what would the babies be doing? He said, well, my grandfather said they'd be screaming. He said, what would you do? He said, just let them scream. He said, what they would do, it would help them to chum the water. He said, when they would throw the babies in tied to this rope, he said, in a matter of minutes, he said, the alligators were on them. He said the alligators would clamp his jaws on that child. As a matter of fact, once he clamped on him, he was really swallowed. You couldn't see anything but the rope. And we would pull the alligator in and tie his nose and hit him in the head with an axe, a pickaxe. He said we would then drag him to the shore. We'd drag him to the shore and leave him lay, and we would do it again, maybe 2 or 3 times a night. I said, so what do you mean? He said, well, yeah, they were taking these babies and killing them for alligator bait. I said, so all these things I've been collecting, are really, really something that I can really talk about and say they're of a truth by what you say? He said, I'm telling you. He said, nobody wants to talk about it. He said, I'm only telling you because you're here. I may never hear from you again. He said, but these things actually depict the acts that they did to slave babies back in the Bayou country and down the south. They did this. They hunted alligators with these babies. That's why they call alligator bait.
Any I see, they getting bored or something, boy.
they did. And even with the slavery thing, when they would kill slaves, there was no burial a lot of times. They would just leave them out there in the field, and the beasts of the earth, the buzzards, you know what I'm saying, the vultures, the stray dogs, the wild dogs or whatever, will come and eat up the carcass. This is something that we did not do in our land, Israel. Matter of fact, if somebody died in the field, we had a law to remove that person's body for burial, so we wouldn't defile the land. It's something that they did to us. It's something that they continue to do to us. They're finding remains of people. I think was it in Mississippi? They found a unmarked graveyard, a mass graveyard right outside of a police station. You know what I'm saying? Who do you think was in that graveyard? They've already found who it is. It's us. You heard of the Devil's Punch Bowl? Y'all gotta peep game, man. The Most High's telling you. Let's go to Psalm 79 and 2. The dead bodies of thy servants have they given to be meat unto the fowls of heaven, the flesh of thy saints, saints meaning Israelites, unto the beasts of the earth. This is a punishment for Israel, family. The Most High is telling you what would happen to the children of Israel. Let's get to Deuteronomy 28, 27 through 29. Ahiah shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with madness, and blindness, and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in the darkness, and shall not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. This is the whole thing. When you look at the diseases that we had, again, we're disproportionately affected by them. When you look at the rates where our women, our sisters are in childbirth and care, that they have a higher rate of dying. Do you think that that's just by a coincidence? There's a reason why them old school black people, especially the men, did not like going to the doctor. And I have to relax when I'm talking about this, but you see what we just went through a few years ago. You need to do your own research on that. All right? So, yeah, we're smitten with this stuff. This is why these things hit us at the proportions that they do. Not that they don't hit anybody else, but they hit us. Again, judgment starts with you, Israel. I keep telling you that. Okay, it says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. That's Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. So when you see these people getting angry, when you see them getting mad at these things that would happen, like there's a term that they would use for slaves that would run away. I'll put it up here. Shout out to my brother Linzel Lott, that was, we used to speak about this, and basically they would say he has a mental condition because he's running away. There's something wrong with him. Something wrong with her. Why is she running away? Not looking at the fact that we're being raped, we're being tortured, we're being beaten, assaulted sometimes on a daily basis, a weekly basis. Whenever Massa got drunk or whatever, he did whatever he wanted to do with those slaves. Let's move it to the forefront. What's going on now? When you look at the thing where Lil Jon made millions off of crunk music. Now this is kind of an old proverb, amongst black people, but crunk came from when the slave was going through what he was going through, the whippings and everything I mentioned in the just in the past verse. Once the work was done for the day and everything, he finally got a chance to breathe, which was very not often. You did what I'm saying? The slave would go into the woods somewhere away from the master's house where he couldn't be seen, and the slave would react by lashing out, kind of throwing that tantrum, getting angry, punching trees and yelling and jumping, letting all that anger, all that built up frustration, the slave would let that out. And that's kind of when you see like the hip hop in the South differs. Not that some northern artists, like MOP is a northern artist that does this. There's a lot of energy, a lot of anger in the music. And this is kind of where it comes from, the crunk. Because that's when we just let loose, you know, throw your shirt around your head like a helicopter. That's what they was doing out there. So that was what translated into the music. That's why when you hear these black singers sing, even outside of rap, we look at the soul, you know, look at James Brown, when you look at the artists before him, the way they sung, that was pain. And they would put it into the music because there was the oppression that was driving them mad, but they channeled it differently. And we do this until this day. I mean, you look at any genre of music we created, any genre. Shout out to Carlos Santana, who said, you know, salsa and all that has African roots, meaning black roots. Facts. Afro beats over in Africa got Israelite, meaning I'm talking about blacks in America roots, what they call foundational black Americans. That influenced by us. We influenced the world. We got people in China rapping and wearing do-rags and stuff.
Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus cover me under the blood. Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you will cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood of Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood of Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Jesus, you will cover me.
Because we are the children of Israel, family. There's something innately in people that may not understand that on a conscious level. But how can we be so oppressed yet so influential across the entire spectrum? Whether you look at sports, theater, meaning the acting, inventions, we top all of that industries. I'm not gonna go too far into it here, but when you look at these people that make it far into Hollywood and all these different places, and you'll be like, oh well, y'all ain't that oppressed. Look at Tyler Perry, look at TD Jakes, look at Oprah. Look, you don't understand. These people have sold their souls. Now, I'm not saying that every black person that's successful sold their souls. I'm not going that far with it. But when you look very, very high up and you look at the stuff that they're saying, stuff that they put out, it's satanic, anti-biblical, and it's wicked. And they're paid very well to push that message, family. It's not by accident. They're not just people. I used to tell people back when I was doing secular music, they're not going to give you $10 million or $3 million or $7 million or whatever $1 million and let you do your own thing. Because you might start speaking positive. You might start speaking on some conscious stuff like Kendrick Lamar. You might start talking about, you know, don't call me black no more, I'm an Israelite. You might start saying that stuff. We can't have that. We never want these people to think on a spiritual level. We never want them to be conscious. We want them looking at World Star, Sexy Red, getting her butt chumped on by her baby daddy and making these nasty lyrics and nasty products, lip gloss. That's where we want the black person's mind at. No other race, they don't take any other race and promote the worst of them as the standard. No other race.
Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity.
And I see a lot of people just be sitting back waiting on a Messiah. They're waiting on that one person.
But they are too, though.
Who's that?
The other side is far more diligent about looking for that Messiah than we are, because they know where to look. You probably wonder, why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer's over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still going to be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity.
Scorpio.
people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity.
And I see a lot of people just be sitting back waiting on a Messiah. They're waiting on that one person.
But they are too, though.
Who's that?
The other side is far more diligent about looking for that Messiah than we are, because they know where to look. You probably wonder, why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still going to be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity.
Okay, let's get to Deuteronomy 28:30-31. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and shall not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. So this is what happens when we would farm and do these things for the oppressor, because the oppressor couldn't do it without us. When you look at Jamestown, you look at Georgetown, you look at all the things along the East Coast where they had the 13 colonies, where we were being colonized. You look at that American flag, that red and white part, that's where we were colonized, Israel. That represents us being colonized. They were dying in those colonies before we were brought over. And of course, the natives also helped them. They had no idea how to live off the land. They were cannibalizing each other. Look it up. So once we came over and we built those things, we didn't partake in those things. They didn't even let us eat the foods that we were harvesting, y'all. They had masks and stuff and torture devices for slaves. This is why when people say what the Catholics did with the Inquisition and act like the Catholics are so different from Christians, the slave master was Christian, Israel. This is why I'm telling you that doctrine of Christianity is not the truth. It has a little tenet of truth here, a little tenet of truth there, but they didn't give slaves the Bible. Slaves were killed for reading the Bible. If they wanted slaves to be Christians, why would they kill them for reading the Bible? Why would they give them a slavery Bible with chapters and verses and entire books removed? It's to enslave them and keep them enslaved and to follow their version of our story. They hide the truth in plain sight all the time. So yeah, we didn't enjoy any of that. This is why we ate the unclean foods, the chitlins and all these pig feet, because that's the part of the hog that the master didn't want.
Considering today's standards of raising animals, of curing meats, I don't fully understand this as I think I should, the restriction that we have on pork.
Sister. All right, I'll explain it to you. No, I'll do even better than that. I'll show you, but this is purely in the interest of science, you understand. Here we have the eastern mole and the brown rat. Yeah, it's my old friend, the aardvark. And here we have the bush pig, as it says, closely related to the domestic pig. Now, do you know why Mr. Muhammad teaches us not to eat from the pig?
Well, the pig contains certain disease-causing organisms.
Right. Right, you're exactly right. Now, that's the physical aspect. There's also the mental or psychological aspects, and there's the spiritual reasons why we're not supposed to eat of the pig. Look at the characteristics of a pig. He's sloppy, he's greedy like a pig, isn't that what they say? They also say you are what you eat. So what we put into our mouths affects our minds and our heart. We don't want to take on these characteristics of sloppiness, of uncleanliness, of selfishness. Now, from a spiritual aspect or a spiritual standpoint, the Bible and the Quran teaches us that it is divinely forbidden for us to eat of any pig. In various chapters in the Bible and the Quran, it talks about this, folks.
That's not something to celebrate. That's something to look at as a curse, because it still that stuff kills us. That's the worst food you can eat. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, thou shalt not eat thereof. Just said that. Thine ass or donkey shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall even be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue. So when I talked about the sharecroppers and the farmers, when we did try to get on our feet And these are the brothers that they were hanging. What do you think they did with their substance, with their oxen and their sheep and whatever else they had, their goats? But they had their own. They didn't have to go to the market to buy meat. They can just do it right there. And they were very successful at it. As a matter of fact, they just came off the plantation making massa rich. Now they're working for self. And here come the good old boys, the KKK, good old Christian so-called white people would hang them and take their substance. Looking at it now, I remember back when I was in the game, I would see drug dealers, you know what I'm saying, get pulled over by a law officer, an officer of the law, had weed on them, money, everything else. The cop would take their stuff and let them go. I know for a lot of people, they don't believe that type of stuff happens. It absolutely does. They would take their substance and go. When you look at what happened during the days of Frank Lucas, they was doing that. These cops was taking bribes. They was taking of their substance, and eventually they would just, lock them up. These things happen to you, children of Israel. Even when they did the right thing, they would come into businesses and do like the mafia would do. Basically, okay, you got a business here, you're making $10,000 a month. Here you're doing pretty good for yourself. Well, check this out. You're gonna start kicking us $4,000 a month as your insurance. And if you don't kick us that as your insurance, some stuff might get burned down. And that's how it will go. So you got to be cognitive of these things, Israel. This is how you look at us and you're like, why can't we prosper? Are we just lazy? Are we just dumb? Are we just stupid? No, all those are racial stereotypes that are incorrect. Not every stereotype is correct. They take little things and make these things big things. But if you notice, like I said, we're at the top of every field. So how can those two things exist? They're diametrically opposed. Okay. But yeah, everything that we did, we weren't able to take a part of it. Yeah, and there was none to rescue. So there was no help for us. Jeremiah 6:12. And their houses shall be turned unto others. You know, slaves built the White House. And the one Negro that made it to the White House as a quote unquote ruler, what did he do for the so-called Negro? You can name what he did for the LGBT. You can name what he did for the feminism movement. You can name what he did for the Dream Act. What did he do for the real children of Israel? Understand that all this stuff that's happening is not by a mistake. The system isn't broken. It was built this way. Let me read it again. And their houses shall be turned unto others with their fields and their wives together. When did this happen to the JW15 people? And before you say it was Adler, that guy was actually of the same bloodline of the people that he was oppressed. This is why when they look into his bloodline, a lot of that stuff is wiped clean, and the stuff that they have found connects him right to the people he was oppressing in those quote unquote camps. But you'll never know that because they'll never put it on TV, right? It says here, for I will stretch out my hand upon the inhabitants of the land, say at the highest. So this is what happened. This is Jeremiah. So again, this is a lesson that keeps happening over and over, Israel. And if you look at the inventions that our people made, Israel, I don't care if it was the ironing board, the spatula, Jack Daniels, things of that nature, the car. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of black inventions. You can't fit them in the month of February. I mean, look at the people that made money off of it, because you make money off of the patent. You invent something, you make money off of the patent. The slave would sell his idea to the massa, like the light bulb thing. Sell it to him. He would then take credit for it. His family would be rich, prosperous for generations to come, go to Harvard, be captains of industry. What happened about the slave? So this is the whole thing. This is part of the curses, family. Who else did this happen to? Who else built up things, built up empires, built up ideas and technologies that revolutionized the world and was not able to eat off of them? But somebody else was. Who does this fit? Let's get to Deuteronomy 28:32 through 34. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. like I spoke about the gator bait Negroes, where they would take the baby from the sleeping mother and use it to hunt. When you look at in the new age that we're living in, there was a time, once upon a time, sisters would go to the hospital and give birth, and they would take the baby once she gave birth, tell her it was a complication. We need to take the baby into surgery or something of that nature. They would take the baby, and the baby would, of course, be alive, but they would come back and tell the mother that she lost the baby. And the mother would be so distraught, they wouldn't ask to see the child, wouldn't ask anything. They would basically trust, because understand this, because I thought it was kind of wild and I heard it too, but you got to understand this, especially when you look at the older generations. They were taught to blindly trust their oppressor, and you see it. You see it. You see it today. You see this today. You cannot tell some of these Negroes that what they learned in school or what they're shown in some of these movies or what they're taught about history is incorrect. You can't tell them. You can't show them documents. You can't show them monuments. You can't show them things that were in place in that time that other people wrote about. No, I believe what Esau, the so-called white man, told me, because look, why would he lie to me? Because he wants to keep you ignorant.
This morning, more than a dozen women are trying to solve a heartbreaking mystery. They want to know if a now closed St. Louis hospital stole their newborns and sold them. Each mother was told that her baby had died after birth, but now decades later, they say they have reason to demand an investigation.
For 49 years, Zella Price believed her daughter died moments after birth. This was the first time she held her in her arms.
What was it like to see her?
Baby girl. Her fragrance, there's something about your child's fragrance.
Price was 26 years old when she gave birth to a girl she named Diane. The baby was 3 months premature, weighing just a pound.
All women who had babies at very young ages, 15, 16, 17, 18, some in their young 20s.
Attorney Albert Watkins represents the Price family.
There was not one adoption agency in the 1950s and 1960s in the St. Louis area that catered to African American couples seeking to adopt infants of color.
Why would somebody want a smart slave? I had to realize this as I have come into this truth, telling people the truth. They could not knock what I was saying, but they don't like smart Negroes, especially Negroes from the South, because the Negroes from the South were freeing most of the slaves, and slavery was more heavy in the South. Not that it was only in the South, but it was heavier. So you are a double-edged sword. You're a Negro, you're smart, and you're speaking on it. You're not smart and like, oh, I'm just shut up because I just want to go along and get along. They're cool with that. You're going to speak up and warn others? Oh yeah, you are an issue. I'm not shadow banned for no reason. I'm telling you, Israel, Ahaya knows. Ahaya knows that this enemy will do what they have to do to keep this truth down, but he also knows that this is going to go to the four corners before he sends the Messiah back. And complete destruction is going to cover the earth. Complete destruction. Save the remnant. So get this word. The fruit of thy land and all thy labor shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. So this is again going to that madness. When those women woke up and their babies were taken from them, what do you think happened to them? When you look at gynecology, for my sisters, look at gynecology. How did they come up with those instruments?
At the edge of Central Park in Manhattan, there's a bronze statue of a doctor named James Marion Sims, whose brilliant achievement carried the fame of American surgery throughout the entire world. He's the guy who created the vaginal speculum, an instrument gynecologists use for examination. He pioneered the surgical repair for fistula, a complication from childbirth, and became known as the father of modern gynecology. But that brilliant achievement was the result of a series of excruciating experimental surgeries that he conducted on enslaved women. It starts with slavery. Doctors relied on slave owners for financial stability. They accompanied plantation masters to auctions to verify the fitness of slaves and were called in to treat sick slaves to protect their owners' investments. In 1807, Congress abolished the importation of slaves and in turn pushed black women to have more children, to essentially breed slaves. Founding Father Thomas Jefferson later wrote, "I consider a woman who brings a child every 2 years as more profitable than the best man on the farm." Around the 1830s, the abolitionist movement led to the rise of what was called Negro medicine, or efforts to identify black inferiority to justify slavery. And there were polygenists who tried to use both science and the Bible to find proof that races evolved from different origins. The 1830s also marked the beginning of recorded experimentation on black women's bodies. One doctor performed experimental C-sections on slaves. Another one perfected the dangerous ovariotomy, or removal of an ovary by testing the procedure on slave women.
You know that they used to use those tools on pregnant black women? No anesthesia, no nothing, just use it on them. Y'all got to get this work, man. Y'all got to get this work. Y'all got to start thinking about this from a spiritual context. This is what they don't want you to do. You want to look at it from a worldly context. When I'm bringing the truth to people, well, that's not what I was told. Well, have you looked at it from what the scriptures say? You don't have to love me or go with what I'm going with on my channel or any of the, whatever. You might not like my presentation. Can you knock what I'm bringing to you via the scriptures, via history, via the truth? There's only one truth. There ain't no his and her truth. It's the truth. Let's get to Deuteronomy 28:35-37. Ahiah shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed. From the sole of thy foot to the top of thy head, the Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou shall set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, even wood and stone. So when you're getting smitten in the knees, you might say, when you're getting hit with a sore botch that cannot be healed, do you understand what they did to the runaway slaves? They were literally cutting off Brothers Johnson. They was cutting off feet. They was cutting the Kuta Kinte thing. Do you think when these things got infected that Massa gave them medicines? I'm pretty sure sometimes he would. We think it would happen right away. And people will say, oh, well, the slave master had to take care of the slave because, it was for, for his production. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was not oh man, what we're doing is really wrong. Let me try to repair this person's wounds. No, it was like, man, I'm not going to be able to get this crop done by sundown. Let me help this Negro out. Give him some medicine and get somebody to nurse his wounds. It was business. Just like I said, the Civil War wasn't about, black people being free. Whites died for blacks to be free. No, they died behind money. Many of them. Don't get me wrong. There were some people like John Brown that led rebellions, but understand that type of so-called white person was in the minority. Yes, there were white people selling slaves guns and doing it. They were in the minority, family. They just like most of the so-called white people today, when you talk about these issues and how they continue, even though it may not be as intense as it was back then, what do they say? Oh, that's just the way that things were. How they're making fun and laughing at what happened to George Floyd. Could you imagine George Floyd was a blue-eyed, blonde-haired white guy, a surfer, or a white girl, especially of prominence? Could you imagine if that was Bethany Williamson III going through that? Could you imagine that? This country would have been in an uproar. You got to understand this, Israel. But yeah, you serve other gods, wood and stone, and this happened during Islam too, family. There was an Arabic slave trade, but I'm speaking of the final slave trade. But we're going to cover the Arabic slave trade, so don't think, oh yeah, man, that's why I'm a Muslim. Yeah, your Muslim masters of your ancestors, they did these same things, family. But we're gonna cover that on another episode because I want to stick to the script. But I am gonna throw that in there. Yeah, so the wood is the wooden cross. The stone is the Kaaba stone in Mecca. And for some of those Israelites that were south of the border, The stone was the stone statues of the Catholic Church. They still out there worshiping the false Jesus. Still out there. They don't know nothing about Yahshua. They know about Jesus, though. You dig what I'm saying? They gave you a false doctrine. Never was called that. The doctrine that they give you, the Christmas, the Easter, nothing to do with the scriptures. Nothing at all. And thou shalt become an astonishment. I want y'all to listen to this, Israel. They says, thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, where the Most High, a highest, shall lead thee. Everywhere you go. Africans even, all these Dr. Umar Negroes. Oh, Africa, Africa, Africa. You go back, I'm talking about bloodline Hamitic people do not like black people. They call you all types of Abis and Akatas, which is like a slang term for nigger. That's all it is. Everywhere you go to China. Even here, they got words for you. This is part of the curses, family. Who else is going through this? Remember what he said in Genesis 15. Your seed shall go through these things among all nations. So you see it. You can see it here. All you got to do is do your research. And then talking about these Negroes in charge, Jesse Jackson made up the term African American. So, credit him for that. And how well is he doing? Does he look like he's doing good these days? Have you seen him? We've had sellouts among us. They would promote the house slave many times to go talk to the field slaves. I'm definitely a field Negro. So let's get to Psalm 79:4. We are become a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and derision to them that are round about us. When you see black people in an area, they were forced in. If you look at the history, they were most likely forced into that area. They were forced into they were forced because when it came to the federal housing acts, when it came to gerrymandering and redlining, even if you had the money for these blacks, talking about classism is stronger than racism. No, it's not. Just because classism exists and it exists within races races as different nationalities. Classism is different Classism is different from racism when you can see a black person like George Foreman have money and not be welcome in River Oaks. Why would they not welcome? And this guy was a black famous person on TV and everything. A Christian pastor and everything. Why do you think they had different churches for blacks and whites? If we're both believing in the same God, right? Y'all got to wake up. Your nation matters. The Most High is telling you this. Anybody telling you this is either your oppressor, a coon, or a liar, or all three. Because some of the Hay House Negroes oppressed the field worse than Massa. You seen in the movie Life, Hoppin' Bob? Yeah, all of these Negroes hopping Bob. Obama, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Messy Jackson, Umar. You got babies out here everywhere lusting for women every time you get online, but you talking about family. How does that work? If all these black queens is out here, why ain't you married to one? So let's get it, man. Psalm 22:7. All who see me mock me. They sneer and shake their heads. And you notice these brothers I'm bringing up, just like on the sister side, you got the Sexy Reds, you got the Meg Thee Stallions, you got the Nicki Minaj. Nicki married to a dang a sex offender. Trash, because that money don't change who you really are. Who you really are is just brought out more by the money. Meg Thee Stallion, she passed around like a blunt at a house party. Why are these people promoted? And this is the thing that brothers was like, back to my feminism video, brothers was telling sisters, this ain't the way. This ain't the way you want to go. Because now the chickens have come home to roost, and now you're seeing they see all of y'all as the angry black woman. Don't matter if you're a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, they see all of you as the bonnet queens. See, what black men, when we were bashed and everything in the media for gangster rap, see, the difference between men and women on this is you'll find men with videos going against the Derek Jacksons, the Dr. Umar's, the even Farrakhan, some stuff that he was saying. You'll find men saying, nah, man, you know, he's off here. Now, he's right on some of these issues, but this right here that he's pushing and he's been screaming to the heavens, he's wrong here. You don't see a lot of sisters doing that with the Sexy Red. You do have some channels, which I did cover in my feminism video, sisters that'll call this stuff out. You don't have enough. You got too many that say, oh, well, that's her. That's just her. No, she is put out as a representation of all of y'all. All of y'all. As a collective. Then when you get treated like a Bonnie Queen, you're like, damn, I got my masters. Because y'all need to put y'all foot on these broads' necks. Straight up. This is why we're mocked. You got to understand that they're not putting her out as whatever. This is why the men have taken the lead on speaking out. Now it's been, you know, within the last few years, but you see the impact. Black men standing up and doing these things. So yeah, we're trimming the fat, family. I want more of us to do this. More men too, not just getting more men too. Stop simping and trying to disagree with what's going on. Stop just believing people because they have a following and they're popular. I get tired of you Negroes doing that, especially you brothers. I'm speaking to y'all because a dude got a following. Don't mean he right on everything. Have you checked on what he said? Yeah, he speak a lot of facts. Then he'll throw an opinion and you'll take it all together. Now y'all following camps be doing the same thing, man. Y'all gonna have to learn. Y'all haven't learned. You need to make the father needs to be your leader in Yahshua name, man. He sent an example for us. Let's get to Deuteronomy 28:32-42. It says, "Thou shalt carry much seed into the field, and shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worm shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all the coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive oil shall cast its fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All the trees and the fruit of thy land shall the locust consume." So this is what happens as a result of us turning our back on the Father. Our sons and daughters into captivity. What we put our hands to is not prospering. We refuse to look at it that way. We just think it's just something that just happened. That's not true.
Denial. Now, said we'd come back to hip hop. Look, Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, NWA. Wow, what are they doing now? Arrested, having an awards, or spending money, girlfriends, Puff Daddy's having a new party. That's what we're reading about. That's what is, but what is being denied here? What are we not hearing about? Well, this is what we're not hearing about. And Dr. Dre is under contract to Jimmy Iovine, who is owned by Lucien Gringe. The guys who, Snoop Dogg is worth about $110 million. That's his net worth. But he was under contract to David Geffen, who's worth about $4 billion. When you follow the money, you realize hip-hop is a white man's industry. The people who say, I like that record, I want this song, I don't want that song. That's a white guy who's making that decision. I like the song with the obscenity, I don't like the song with the politics. So we're going to have this one on the CD and not that one. You understand? Or you want to continue to work for us? So that's the story of hip-hop.
What do you mean?
The idea was that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that Black Lives Matter.
It just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on it. It's not a name. It's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police for a reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands Black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man. My life matter, especially to my.
Do you separate yourself from it?
I feel connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me.
America today, for every $100 of white family wealth, black families only have about $5.04. In fact, the percentage of the total wealth owned by black Americans hasn't really grown appreciably since the Civil War. This level of inequality isn't about failing to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's a direct result of centuries of racist banking policies and practices that systematically kept black Americans from prospering. Racism in the industry is still alive and well. In the early 2000s, federally regulated banks and other financial institutions profited from selling many subprime loans, which charged higher interest to compensate for higher risk of default. Many were designed to make repayments difficult or impossible. These toxic loans were purposely peddled to black neighborhoods. In one lawsuit filed by the city of Memphis, Wells Fargo Bank officials testified that employees referred to minority customers as mud people and subprime loans as ghetto loans. And data shows discrimination in lending was based on race, not economic status. By 2006, higher income black Americans, including many who could qualify for regular loans, were 4 times as likely to have subprime loans as higher income white Americans.
We think that the system is broken. I hear black people talking about our country and we and we and we. It wasn't no we, it was them and it was us.
There was 2 kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. Why, you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hole. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters. The field Negro was beaten from morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated his master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro.
Like it says in Jeremiah, because you might say, oh, well, we're doing better now. Like it says in Jeremiah, they healed the wound of my daughter slightly. That means that they kind of let up a little bit. And see how well we're doing, they let up a little bit. But that doesn't mean, like I said, if we would have raided the White House on January 6th, what do you think would have happened to black people nationwide? Keep that in your mind as I'm going through this. Who does this fit? And let's see here. And this is the whole thing about prayer. Oh, just pray, just pray, just pray. Pray, faith without works is dead. Okay. Jeremiah 11:14-17. Therefore pray not for this people, neither lift up a cry of prayer for them. For I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. For everybody, oh, where was Christ during slavery? Where was the Most High during slavery? He's not hearing you, excuse me. There's a reason he's saying he's not hearing you. He's not hearing you. Because you're not going to listen to his word. If he saved you out of it, you're going to go right back to the wickedness. Oh, free my nigga this. Oh, free my nigga that. Free him for what? What do you want to free Big Meech for? What is he going to get out here and do? What was he doing when he was in? Is he speaking against his lifestyle? Is he going to come out here and tell the youth that ain't the way to go?
Milwaukee, St. Louis, Detroit, Texas, Atlanta, Cali, you know what I'm saying, Florida. We got people from everywhere in our mind. Everybody move as one. Everybody is prospering in some kind of way, in their own way. Every man plays his own role. And everything starts with the leader. I'm a good leader, so I got good people that follow. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. If you can only be like the nigga that's running your crew. If you got a robbing ass boss, then you're gonna be a robbing ass crew. If you got a real boss who know how to sacrifice and take the bad along with the good and show his crew know how to be men, then this what you get. If whatever a woman want, we got right here. See what I'm saying? So we get all kinds of women, models, nobody, hood rats, everything. We do it all. We don't discriminate. Matter of fact, after you leave here, you end up getting your teeth on something and coming up with something better. You know what I'm saying? Like a new car, new house, maybe your kids get to go to school, private school, paid for, courtesy of the mob. You know what I'm saying? We pay. You know, that's simple. A lot of niggas don't like to spend their money. We love to spend our money. We can't take none of this shit with us.
A few moments later.
I saw my brother's picture on the big screen. Really couldn't believe it because I know that's not my brother's character.
Eventually have to have a bond hearing. There were cameras everywhere. It was a scene. There was no evidence that Demetrius had done anything wrong. The witnesses during cross-examination just fell apart on the stand.
Well, boys, we hit the jackpot this time.
Inferno spaz.
Or is he gonna come out here and be like, yeah, I was big for doing that and boast in that? Need more youth to go try to do it that way. I'm asking. What hath my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she hath wrought lewdness with many, and the holy flesh is passed from thee? When thou doest evil, then thou rejoicest. What did I just say? We rejoice with the killers, the strippers, and the drug dealers. We rejoice that. Songs, music, television shows, podcasts, Only Fools, Lonely Fans, whatever you want to call it. Ahia called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit. With the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken. See, this is what Paul was talking about in Romans, with the tree, with the olive, with the branches being broken off. That tree represents Israel. Broken off because we broke the covenant.
Goddamn cell at night, real goddamn tears come out my motherfucking eye, man. This shit hurts real bad, man. And you motherfuckers want to keep doing the fucked up thing in your motherfucking life. If you ever believe in any motherfucking thing, believe what the fuck I'm telling you today and what my comrades gonna tell you. Cause all that goddamn shit is true, man. So listen to fuck up today, man. Y'all ain't no stupid motherfucking kids. Just making fucked up choices, man. That's what they doing. Somebody get it. Bridget, get on your knees. Bridget, you heard what he said? Get on your knees, bro. I want you to buck. Buck in front of the camera. I'm gonna knock your white ass out, crap. Get on your knees. Get on your knees. Yeah. On your knees, boy. Save yourself trouble. Man, chill the fuck. Get on your knees. Get on the stage. Get off the stage. Get the fuck off the stage. Fuck out of here. Let's go. Get your shit and go off the stage, man. Fuck off the stage. Give him shit. Yo, don't get your fucking shit, motherfucker. Fuck out of here. Fuck. This shit corny as hell, bro. Coming to somebody's goddamn prison. At the age of 19, I came to this motherfucker. The first speaker came at the age of 14. We got another speaker that's coming at the age of 16, man. Came in this motherfucker when they was kids, man. And they gonna die in this motherfucker, man. And y'all trying to knock the doors down to get in this motherfucker, man. Y'all crazy, man. Y'all crazy. Y'all lose y'all lives in this motherfucker, man. Each and every motherfucking day, man.
The covenant he made was with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob is Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. That's you, Israel. That's you, Negro, indigenous person. That is you. That if your forefathers fell under these curses, that's you. You gonna have to learn that this is you and move like this is you. Are you gonna get the same fate of the nations that oppressed us? And you gonna get it first, because judgment starts at the house of Israel. It says, for the Lord of hosts that planted thee hath pronounced evil against thee, for the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah, that's the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, which they have done against themselves to provoke me to anger and offering incense unto Baal. All these different religions are just different ways of worshiping Baal. I don't care what it is. If it's a religion, that's at the end game, that's what you're doing. That's what those holidays represent. That's what those ceremonies represent. These rituals represent. A lot of these shows and characters and superheroes is what they represent. They represent Baal, the fallen ones. Let's get to Deuteronomy 28, 43 through 44. This is something y'all got to understand. For all y'all, we just need to make more money. We just need to do this. Until we are right with the Father, we will not prosper. Anybody that make it through any other way than the door, which is Yasha, if you make it any other way, you'll be thought a thief. They see you come to your house in the window or the back door or the chimney or whatever, you'll be thought a thief by anybody on the outside looking in. Deuteronomy 28, 43 through 44. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. Again, I hear these brothers talking about finance. You know, that's one of my strong points. They act like we got in this situation because we just are lazy or not paying attention. Is that true for some of us? Of course, we can't knock that. But as a collective, no, man. This is part of the curses. This is the gerrymandering. This is the redlining. This is the shutting down of our businesses for code violations. This has been an ongoing onslaught on the black pocketbook for a long time. And when we do get a little money, what do? We blow it all on these holidays. At these strangers' businesses that will not hire us or speak on our behalf. They don't, you spend all that money at these stores, go in there and put an application in. Spend all this money at Gucci and Saks Fifth Avenue and Nordstrom's and Macy's. Go put in an application with them. See if they'll put some money in your pocket. It says, and thou shalt come down very low. So the enemy's very high, we're very low. He shall lend to thee. Who are we lending to? Who are we lending to? He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Who owns the banks, man? The people who they're calling the children of Israel, that's who owns the banks. The so-called white man. But do they fit this? This says that they will be, this says the children of Israel will be lent to not doing the lending, according to the Deuteronomy 43, 28 and 43. Let's get the Lamentations 2 and 17. Ahiah had done that which he had devised. He had fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pitied. He hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He has set them up the horn of thine, he has set up, the horn of thine adversaries. Yes, they are winning. We're doing better, but we got to wake up to this because we're not winning. We're not winning because we haven't woke up to who we are and what's expected of us. We haven't done that. We haven't done that work. We look at spiritual work as something on the back end. See, we go out here and do what the hell we want to do. We go out here, we slang drugs. We go out here, we promote whoredom. We go out here, we promote all this wickedness, as I've been showing you. We do all that promotion of it. And we do worse and worse and worse because of it. This is why we are falling off as a people. And then when somebody does tell us to look at this spiritually, you look at any kind of spirituality as religion. Spirituality and religion is two different things. When you do look at spirituality, you look at it from the oppressor's vision. You're not Israel. How are you Israel? What about those people over there? Have you read that book? Have you read what it would say about the children of Israel? What would befall them and what would nothing? Because you're not hearing it in your 501c3 Christian church. Haven't looked at none of the studies, none of the stuff that's been put out. These people write this stuff in books. Why I say you want to hide anything from a Negro, put it in a book. Your niggas ain't reading. See, the slaves got killed for reading. Especially, they got killed for reading the Bible. Especially. You treat reading like it's going to kill you. Psalm, oh yeah, here it goes. I'm sorry, but let me finish that verse out. Let's get to Deuteronomy 28, 45 through 46. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Ahiah thy power to keep his commandments. This is what I'm telling you. You got to look at it from a spiritual aspect. We are physical beings. We are physical beings, but we started in the spirit. He knew you in the spirit before you were made into a fleshly being. How are you going to go against he that created heaven and earth and think you're going to prosper, man? You may prosper for a short while, but it's going to become your destruction. We see this over and over, y'all. Okay, it says, thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Ahiah, thy power to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign. You're looking for a sign. These curses are upon you as a sign. Who else are they upon? That's another thing I get tired of. Y'all comparing us to other nations. Can they say that they went through oppression? Of course. There's a nation on earth that can't say that. But on this level, who? Who on this level? Who you are matters. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. All these hundreds and hundreds of years we look back, and all these, from the Arabic slavery to us getting chased into Africa in the 1st century to recently the 400 years that we've been under this system that started in slavery. We weren't listening to the Father. The Father showed us how to prevent this. But we didn't hearken unto him. We served other gods. Still doing it to this day. Let's get it. Psalm 119 and 21. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed. See, when you look at these services, you look at these services on Sunday, they are proud. They're ego. They're boastful, doing things the complete opposite way of what the scriptures say. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from thy commandments. They're in error. And if you tell them that they're in error, they will put you out of the church. If you tell the Muslim brothers they're in error, they will also put you away. You are the seed of Israel. You are going to be under these curses because your forefathers were the seed of Israel. The only way to make it out of these curses is to follow the first 15 verses of this chapter, Deuteronomy 28, to listen to what the Father said concerning you. That's the only way out. Your yoga, you're partying, ignoring it, you're just getting rich, getting money. You're traveling and all that, and passport, you can do whatever you want to do. Not knocking what you want to do, unless of course it goes against this, because the Most High is knocking it. I'm not here to give you my opinion. I'm here to tell you the truth. And your best bet is to align with this truth, the truth of the Father. It's the only way you're gonna make. You're not making it any other way. People don't even want to hear this. Think they're gonna make it some other way. Don't fool yourself. Deuteronomy 28, 47 through 48. Because thou servest not the Most High power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart. When you tell people to keep the Sabbath, they act like you asked them for a kidney. For the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Ahiah shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. To that brother I was talking about, Section 8 and all this was our reparations. You know, we're serving because we didn't serve the Father. We didn't serve how he wanted man, woman, and child. They brought in feminism. They brought in gang banging. They brought in drugs into our, and we just welcomed it right in. We welcomed it right in. This is in the near future. This is in the recent past. And that's what and we're needing all things. They can cut off your water, electricity, cut your channel off. They can deplatform you. Look what happened to was it Deion Sanders? One woman could say, hey, he did this to me. One of their people could say anything. And your whole future is just in disarray. Michael B. Majors. He shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he had destroyed thee. The slaves used to have to wear that yoke of iron upon their neck. Because when they tried to run away, that yoke of iron would prevent them from getting through the brush. Because you got to understand, this was uncharted areas that they most likely had to get through to get to freedom. But I don't know what I'm talking about though, right? Let's get to 1 Kings 8 and 33. When thy people Israel be smitten down before the enemy. When did any other nation wear a yoke of iron? When did any other nation, you know what I'm saying, have to go and hunger and in thirst and one of all things to another nation? Because they have sinned against thee and shall turn again unto thee and confess thy name, confess the name of Ahiah, confess the almighty I am of Exodus 3 and 14, confess his name. He said it was his name. Put some respect on his name. And pray and make supplication unto thee in this house, the house of Israel. You got to return to the Father. These Gentiles ain't dealing with what you dealing with. Stop acting like they're your equal. They're not. What kingdom have we been equal with these Gentiles in? Please do the research and show me Deuteronomy 28:49 through 50. Ahijah shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. What is the national bird? What bird did the Romans use as their on their banners? The eagle. As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor shew favor to the young. And this is the thing, when you look at what the so-called white man, what Esau has done to us, there wasn't any limit to what he wouldn't do to us. That's what I need people to understand. There's no limit to what if he wanted a child in those days to do what he felt what he wanted to do with, he would get a child. If he wanted a bed wench, he can get that. If he wanted a buck, he can get that. Same thing with white women. They can do it. There was no limit. There was no person in that system would stop them from doing that to us. Not one. That's why I said, no man shall save thee. Not one. Whether they were old or young. You got to understand that old men, 75, would be called boy. That movie Life is, like I said, it's not a true story per se, but it comes from stories that happen. So, and this is the thing. When people say, oh, you Israelites, you black people are just grasping at straws. You're just trying to hold on to something because you don't have a heritage because it was taken from you because of all these things that happened in slavery and oppression, right? That's false, man. The history shows it.
What is it? Against the Prime Minister of Israel. We are for Gaza.
You're for Gaza, the Gaza Strip?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We are against the state of Israel at all.
You said you're for Gaza?
Yes, we are against the state of Israel.
You're against the state of Israel?
Yes, we believe, the Jewish belief is against the state of Israel.
Are you for the real return of the real children of Israel?
We believe that all Israel need to be returned to the Palestinians.
Do you know that the black man in America is Israel? That he's Jews? Do you know that?
Yes.
Yes. Heard that you black people that was stolen from Africa to America, that you don't know who you are, but you are the children of Yahweh, the children of Israel, and I'm telling you, you have to come back to your homeland, here to Zion, to Jerusalem, because us the Gentiles, we do need you.
Trying to say that why from each white country this Jewish agency is trying to bring Jews, and when it's about black Africa, they're going to Ethiopia, and this is where they stop. The only one place. Now, because of the same thing, they're trying to do the white supremacy here. They try to bring white guys here and to take the supremacy over Arabs, which are the local citizens, and over blacks, which are so far they're only the Ethiopian Jews. Now, what I'm trying also to say is that another question is why America needs Israel. In Israel there is no oil like in other Middle Eastern countries. There's nothing they can be attracted to. But why do they do all these things? Why do they invest money, bring white people and so on? When they build their system of white supremacy, just like in America they build in Israel. Why? And I can tell you why. Because The true Jews, according to the Bible, you can check it in the Bible, you can read Job 30:30 and some other places. They have never been white. They have been people of color. And they have not stopped in Ethiopia. They were in Ethiopia, Sudan, and they have settled in West Africa. From West Africa, they have been taken as slaves to America. Brothers and sisters, blacks of America, it's you. You are the true Hebrews. You are the true Hebrews from the Bible. America gonna do everything, gonna invest as much money as it has, gonna fight as much wars as they can, gonna invite as much weapons as they can, just to hide this away from you. Gonna take Israel, gonna bring white people here, and to tell you these are the Jews. Gonna kill you, gonna kill Arabs, gonna mistreat white people like this guy, just to tell you this lie that you are nobody and we are the Jews with all the history and so on. It has been deleted, your history. You don't know who you are. Don't forget about it.
And pagan people did to Negro brothers, who suffer a hard bondage and atrocities. This is the Holocaust. Real Jews, Israelites or Hebrew Israelites, have a black skin complexion and hair like wool. You so-called Afro-Americans or Africans or blacks or Negro must wake up. You are the real Israel who suffered the slavery and scattered on the earth through slavery.
Study Bibles, it says Cushite. Cushite meaning these were black people. Cushite Empire was huge. Realize how big that was. So, brothers and sisters, it is high time that you guys start to know your identity. You guys start to know your identity. You're Hebrew Israelites.
Another area in Africa you have something big happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them, also Christians, like I spoke about before, how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. You know, so what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is, most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people, came in a little bit later on. Some of the largest pillars on the transmission today were Roman converts. So here we are, we're Caucasian Jewish people, and now you have people in Africa saying that they're the real people of Israel. It can't be ruled out at all.
We got the people of the nation that oppressed us that are saying this. The people that are running the banks that are saying, they're writing this again in their books. They're not coming out on national TV saying this, of course. They're not trying to mess up their pockets. They're not going to let that go that far. But this is what it is. They know who we are. Like I tell black people, who want to reject this. I've been in this truth about 10 years now. There's people that want to reject this, and I just tell them. I tell them plainly then. I tell them plainly now. You may not know who you are, but they know who you are. What did Cat Williams say in that interview? He said, white people have never forgotten who black people are. Why, if there's somebody you hate, you dislike, why do you keep such an eye on them? Why do you keep pushing them down? If they ain't nothing, if we ain't nothing, if we lazy and we just savages and all this, why do we keep advancing even with all this whole system upon us on our neck every day? Don't make sense. If we're nothing, then you should be prospering without any help. They don't want an even playing field. They never forgot who you are. You were targeted because you are the children of Israel. The Africans that sold you to the so-called white man, they knew you were the children of Israel. You better do some dang research, man. Because this is something that was prophesied in Jeremiah's day to happen to the children of Israel. Jeremiah 17, 4-5. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. Because whenever they get the comparing us to other nations, oh, well, these people were oppressed and these people went through X, Y, Z, and these people went through this. Did they ever lose track of who they were in their bloodline? Did they ever lose track of their forefathers and were in whatever situation of oppression that they were in? Like the Irish, shoot, they gave them Ireland. And that was even a place where they oppressed the Twa tribe. The Italians, yeah, they were oppressed. They still have Italy. Did you not watch The Godfather? Even though that wasn't a true story, but based on facts, you can't join the mob or the mafia unless you can trace both parents back to Italy. We're not going to even go on all that though, but yeah. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger which shall burn forever. Thus saith the Hiah, cursed be the man cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from a Hiah. When your heart departs from the Most High, a lot of times these people trusting in men. They're trusting in Obama. They're trusting in a Bush. They're trusting in a Biden or a Trump. You think that that's going to turn these curses around off of you from the Father and the King of the universe? You think that a president is going to do that? You are more lost than you think. These are the people that call us Israelites brainwashed and crazy and all this stuff.
Whatever we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation, at least not just. We are also a Jewish nation, a Muslim nation, and a Buddhist nation, and a Hindu nation, and a nation of non-believers. And even if we did have only Christians in our midst, if we expelled every non-Christian from the United States of America, whose Christianity would we teach in the schools? Would it be James Dobson's or Al Sharps's? Which passages of Scripture should guide our public policy? Should we go with Leviticus, which suggests slavery is okay, and that eating shellfish is an abomination? Or we could go with Deuteronomy, which suggests stoning your child if he strays from the faith? Or should we just stick to the Sermon on the Mount, a passage that is so radical that it's doubtful that our own Defense Department would survive its application?
So, you know who Obama is now?
Oh, no, I knew who the nigga was. I was just joking.
You were not joking. You jumped on the Obama celebrity bandwagon because it will give you much-needed exposure.
Anything English. No, see, it ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? I started looking into his political positions and his policies and views and whatnot.
What policies?
Well, you know, I heard the nigga speak, right? And he was talking about changing some shit or hoping for some shit. And I thought, yeah, I mean, you know, all niggas asking for is hope. You can sit on your ass all day and hope. If you're too lazy to hope, you's a lazy motherfucker. That's all I know. And that's when Will.i.am called me about doing this damn song.
Magnificent joins will.i.am's all-star celebrity tribute to Barack Obama.
Got up this morning, things weren't working right. I said I wanna make a change. I said I wanna fight. And I said I wanna ride your nuts, cause I think you're the man. Now I'm dick riding Obama, Obama. Now I'm dick riding Obama, Obama. Now I'm dick riding Obama, Obama. Now I'm dick riding.
But they also call themselves Bible thumpers and Bible believers, and they peruse the Bible. And all. Have you read this? Have you studied this? Reading a verse here or there is cool. Blah, blah, blah. Notice a lot, especially lately, what they do is they read verses that appeal to whatever they're trying to point that they're trying to make. If they want a woman to be in order, which of course some women ain't in order, they'll go to the verses about that. When the women want the man to be in order, which of course we got men that ain't in order, they'll go to those verses. But they won't go to the verses that apply to them and what they have to do. When they want children to be in order, they know what verses to go to. When they want to be prosperous, they know what verses to go to. But when the Most High requires that you follow His commandments, oh, they play Ray Charles to those verses. When the Most High is telling you about the children of Israel and who they really are, oh, you'll play Ray Charles to those verses. Okay. It says Deuteronomy 28:51 through 52. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not cleave to thee corn, wine, or oil, the incense of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, and thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest, thou throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all the gates throughout all thy land, which the Most High thy power have given thee. So the whole thing is, when Ahijah had us in our land, we had gates, we had fences and all that stuff. Matter of fact, there's a story, I believe, in the book of Josephus. There was a fence. It was so heavy, it took 20 men to open and close it. It was the fence to the entrance into Israel. And there were signs that was happening in the land. And one of those signs was that gate would just open on its own. Now, this is a heavy old school gate on old school hinges. It took 20 men to push it open and to close it. This gate opened by itself. And when a priest seen it was open, he by himself was able to come and close it, because it kept opening on its own. The Most High was showing that the gate is open. Like they say, the barbarian is at the gate. The barbarian was at the gate. The judgment had been put down on us. This is when they had the siege of Jerusalem, and the real Israelites fled into Africa. And through Africa, settled along the Africans, the bloodline Hamitic tribes, warred with them. If you know about Africa, them tribes been warring. I don't know if you've seen Hotel Rwanda. So they're warring with each other. So they for sure warring with us as foreigners in their land. And this is how we got sold on the slave ships to America. And yes, there were people here already before that, before Columbus came, which these people spake Hebrew according to Columbus.
Why do you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. They are burning people for less.
For telling the truth?
Yes. They are burning people for less. The men you're about to confront have no emotion.
But you can't tell none of you Negroes this. Because as far as you understand, the Indians look like Chuck Norris because that's what the oppressor told you. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, and the gates weren't thou trusted. So this is what happened. And the thing about it is, this continuing from the heritage and everything, the people that are claiming to be Israel are not inherited and traced by their inheritance or by their heritage to that land. They're traced to Europe, which is the land that they also overtook once they came out of the Caucasus Mountains. They came and took over Europe. I went over this in the book of Jasher. This is how the Japhethites were given that land, and that land was overtaken through the Edomite king, I can't remember, Eliphaz, and that's how they got Italy. That was their capital. I did videos on this, and YouTube took them down. Anytime I go into how biblically ancient, kind of consort that I put these things together in, and talk about the so-called white man's history, how he got into power, how he started claiming these lands, they take the video down. They took down 2 of them. 2 of them. So I'm going to Rumble soon. So just understand that when black people did rule Europe, we did so as the Moors. And the Moors were taken down. You know why? Because they were under these curses too, y'all. But I'm going to do a video on that on another time. But yes, the Moors that ruled Europe, the King Jameses, the Blackamoor kings, like King Stuart, John Gosert. I mean, when they went to go take over Europe, there were black statues everywhere. They took them all down. There's still some that are there in paintings. You'll see these things in paintings. But because they were following it, that's why I say Islam, though it has some tenets, because Muhammad learned a lot of what he was dealing with from the Hebrews, the real people of the real children of Israel, us. This is why they don't eat pork and stuff like that, and the women have their head covered. That was the Israelite thing that they took on. They still didn't take on the entire book. They took on parts and pieces of it, which is why some of our people are attracted to following that religion. But that religion is not the truth. Religion itself isn't the truth. So the Moors that were following that, they were still under the curses because they haven't returned completely to the Most High. You can't return to him in part. Islam is just in part. Christianity is just in part. They took pieces of it. You need to return to it and as a whole. That show don't mean Judaism, which we're going to cover that at the end. So let's get to Deuteronomy. It says, and he shall besiege thee in all the gates. So the thing that happened with the conquest of the Romans, but they got the land taken over because they didn't hearken unto the Most High. And they were besieged within those gates. When you think that you're doing right, when you think that everything, but you're going against what the Father says, destruction is going to come upon you lest you repent. And one thing you don't want to do is wait until it's too late, because once the judgment is pronounced and the barbarians at the gate, I mean, you can repent, but that don't mean you ain't got to pay for it. It's like if I go out and murder or assault somebody, I can repent, but that don't mean I ain't got to go to jail. You understand what I'm saying? I'll have to deal with the retaliation from that. So Obadiah 1:12 through 13. So this is talking about the nation. This Obadiah 1 is about Esau, the Edomites. It talked about what they did in Deuteronomy right here. This is why it's verse line upon line. Let's read. But thou shouldst not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldst thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldst thou have spoken proudly in the day of their distress. When we were dealing with the problems we was dealing with the surrounding nations, because it wasn't just Edom that we were at war with in the land. We were at war with other nations, but this prophecy here is when the Romans came and took our goods. They looked proudly upon us. They got placards where they're carrying the menorah out of the temple. I told you this. When the Romans took over, they did two things. They blocked off roads in and out. They cut off the water and food supply in and out. And when they took you down, they burned down your libraries. They took your books, and they burned down your temples, and they took whatever was good out of it before they did that. Look at what happened in the Library of Alexandria. This is what they did. You gotta understand how much truth is written in books, man. I can't emphasize that enough. It says, thou shouldst not have entered into the gate of my people. Remember the gate? They should have not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldst not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. This is what they did. This is why the judgment is upon. This is why when Christ comes back, who's ruling? Everybody says we in the end days. Who's ruling? Because the people ruling are going to be the first people to get it. Because the thing about the Israelites, they're already going to be in the wilderness prior to this happening. They're already going to be 2/3 cut off and going through behind a tree eating swine, as it says in Isaiah 66, and be consumed, and all that's already going to be done with. When he comes through the firmament, Christ ain't going to be looking to punish the Israelites. He going to be looking to punish, like it says in Joel, the man on the mountain that's going to be fighting against the armies. Who's ruling? Who's ruling? But the people ruling are telling you that they're the children of Israel. You see how backwards that is? How backwards is that? Where does it say that in these curses that the children of Israel are going to be running the banks and running the system and running governments and prospering and being at the top of society? What is it? It says we're going to be the tail. Christ even said the last shall be first. I'm trying to lift the veil from your eyes, man. But Deuteronomy 28:53 through 55, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body. Listen to this, Israel. These are some of the darker verses of the Bible. These are some of the darker verses of the Bible that people use and say, oh, this is the Most High is promoting this. No, he's not promoting this. He's saying that this is going to happen to the children of Israel because they did not listen unto him. They follow other nations, and those other nations that they were following came in and will plunder them. And this is what's going to happen. It said, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Most High hath given thee, because he gives you the fruit of the womb, in the siege and in the straitness, the siege of the Romans coming in, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat. I might be saying, so is he saying it's going to be cannibalism? That's exactly what he's saying. The thing about the Romans, you read in the book of Josephus, you read in any historic book, when they took over Jerusalem, they cut off the water, cut off the food, cut off the roads in and out. When they did that, they also burned down the Israelites. We had zealots among us. These zealots might mirror some of these camps, not all of the camps, but some of these camps that are out there going crazy, that they always put the bottom of us as this is what they believe. When you tell people you're Israelite, they click on the internet, on Google, and see these crazy camps out there, right? Not all of them. Shout out to the ones doing it righteously, but they're not the ones that they promote. If you're doing it right, they're not gonna promote you. If you're out there cussing out other nations, acting a fool, they're gonna make you go viral. So they put these zealots of that day, which were they were very zealous. They were like, hey, we're going to stay here and fight like we did in the days of Maccabees, not knowing it was prophesied that we're not going to win this fight if we fight. The Roman army was too strong, and we had already went against the fathers so much. We let these people already in. We're going to go through that in another lesson. This is what Christ talking about in John 8:44. Thou art of thy father, the devil, talking to these ruling powers that were overseeing us, because they were there in the land. That's why he said, it's going to be a brick by brick thrown down of this temple. That's what he was telling them. These people are going to do destruction. They didn't believe Christ. They don't believe Christ. They don't believe the prophets. This is a pattern with our people, as you can see. So when they cut off the roads, they cut off these things, and you got the zealots in there. You had some of us saying, hey, man, like Christ said, when you see Jerusalem come past with armies, flee toward the mountains. The mountains represented Africa. There's plenty of mountains in Africa. He was telling them to flee toward the mountains. Why? Because we could blend in Africa. Why would we flee into Rome? And the Romans are, think about it. So the ones that wanted to flee were stopped by the Zealots. The Zealots were literally warring against each other. And in that warring, the Zealots would the storerooms in which we kept, because we were known to keep stuff in the storerooms, you know, food and water and things of that nature, were burned to the ground. So there was no more food. We didn't have anything in reserve. You might you see people have a pantry or MREs. You know, see people buying those MREs where they were burning all that crap up, fighting against each other. And the ones that did escape, if they didn't get killed by the Zealots, the Romans would kill them because they blocked all the roads in and out. So long story short, people ate their own kids. There was nothing else to eat. You even read in Josephus, there were people literally eating grass. The people that were escaping and trying to leave, they were literally eating blades of grass, eating weeds and stuff in the grass. The Most High told us it would get this bad. This book of Deuteronomy was written by Moses. This is over 2,000, 3,000 years before this stuff actually came to pass. Well, I would say closer to 2,000, you know, dealing with the days of after Christ. But as you see, these curses still followed us, even, like I said, even into recent history. The Most High is dealing with the children of Israel like this because we turned from him. And like I've explained to people, this is what happened. You know, there was nothing else to eat, so people ate the flesh of their children, man. And let you know that this was a thing that the Romans did. They didn't just use this tactic of cutting off the roads and the water and the food with us, as like they say all roads lead to Rome. When they conquered the rest of the world, they did the same thing, but the difference is everybody didn't fall under these curses. When they say, "Oh, well, this happened with the Vikings," "Oh, this happened with these people," yeah, it probably did. I've read where it has, but with us, all these other curses followed it. It wasn't just this and that was it. It was the whole chapter I've been reading for all this time on here. So I want to touch another part here. Let me finish out this verse. But it says, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left in the siege. In that siege, he had nothing left. Again, they burned down the storehouses. And in the straightness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in all thy gates. So the enemy moved in. That's what happened. But I want to go back to this verse. It says, the man that is tender among you and very delicate. It's not talking about an effeminate man. It's not talking about a funny style, gay, sassy man. It's talking about a man, a loving man. You know what I'm saying? It says his eye shall be evil toward his brother. This is where you look at the gangbanging. This is where I'll show you the stuff about the drill music and all these drill rappers killing each other. How they'll make them rich and famous real quick, and then they'll have them. They'll be dead. And I think this is honestly, I think that these record companies like Empire, for example, this is my beliefs and my opinion on it, that they're hiring these people. They're putting money behind them, making them go viral, getting their music out there, getting the plays and the clicks and everything, making them blow up, knowing that these people are promoting a lifestyle that they can be taken out like that. They never leave. See, I think the difference with like a Chief Keef, not to say that he's promoting a different message, but he moved away from the area of Chicago where he was and got away from it and began to build differently, even though I believe that he's still part of that boule, but he's surviving because he did something different, at least for the time being. But you look at the King Bonds and the FBG Ducks and all these other guys, these guys in Florida, that's not the case. They still, you know, running around the projects in the hood screaming all this crazy stuff, making videos, and think ain't nobody gonna touch them. That's not how it works. This is why Lil Wayne, he might rap about the 17th. He might even go ride through there every now and then. I don't know, but I know he ain't gonna move back there. What do you think gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? So the eye evil toward the brother, even what their music is about, it's about killing a nigga. The same thing that the KKK was talking about, killing a nigga. The same thing that the FBI was formed to break up Negro unity. right? But you see the FBI labels on these same federal warnings on these same productions that are put out. But they are lessening the voice of conscious rappers, even though they might touch some of these subjects, but they're also, when the corporations got involved in rap, it all became gangster music. And that's why a lot of brothers now are making these great productions talking about how gangster rap was a psyop. Because it made it a normal thing to kill a nigga. It's normal. They ain't kill a nigga. Yeah, I'm gonna kill a nigga too. You know? But you know, they never made a song about killing a federal agent. They're never gonna make a song about killing the president or anything like that, even though they can say, oh, it's just music, just art, just, you know, just expressing my artistic vision, not telling people to do it. The people that did make music like that, like the NWA, F the Police, they have federal sanctions against them, but they can rap about killing you and stripping you naked and throwing you off a rock and kicking you out of an airplane, you know what I'm saying? Throwing you backwards off a cliff, tying you to a boulder and rolling it down the hill. They can kill you like on some Acme, what's the Wile E. Coyote stuff. But they can't even say F the police. Do you understand, family? Okay, and it also says toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children which he shall lead. This is a curse that continues.
Shit, boy. I told you not to fuck that bitch when you did it, boy.
What, man, my shit fuck on, man. You don't be in this shit, man. So you got this nigga over talking shit about a nigga and shit?
Hey, I told you not to fuck with the
bitch. You making me look bad, bitch. You can make no punk ass Facebook status this shit, bitch. Huh?
He don't know he on live.
Fuck ass, bitch. Man, look, man, the shit paid, man. You know what I'm talking about? The motherfucking shit paid. Now, what the fuck you gonna do is, you gonna take your ass down, man. You gonna sign the motherfucking papers, bitch. You understand me, bitch? I'm telling you, this shit gonna get real, bitch. I'm tired, bitch. I'm fucking tired, bitch. I want to sleep crying in this motherfucking end. Man. Alright, look, bitch, look, just shut the calm down. Say your prayers, listen, say your prayers. I'm telling you, bitch, I'm 2 yards. I'm 2 yards away from murking your ass. And we both ain't gonna have no motherfucking child, bitch. You understand me, bitch? We both ain't gonna have, you won't be dead, bitch. And I just about fuck around, I'm gonna be on the run. Cause they ain't catching me, bitch. You understand? You want a child to grow up like that, bitch, without a mama and a goddamn pop. Huh, bitch? Huh? You know what the fuck that mean, bitch? That mean the daughter gonna be a hoe, bitch. She gonna be selling pussy, bitch. Is that what the fuck you want for your child, bitch? Is that what the fuck you really want, bitch? You need to quit fucking with me, bitch.
It's his child too,
You need to
bro.
quit fucking with me, bitch. I'm never afraid of you. You will give me games, I'm just a big damn team, but yeah. I'm fucking with you, bitch. You changed, bitch. You changed. Yeah. Now I ain't got no goddamn money, bitch, and I ain't giving you no money, bitch. Fuck that. She 3 years goddamn old. She don't know what no goddamn money is, bitch. What the you trying to give you some of that money, bitch? Remember new ass bitch? Oh, now you trying to make a nigga jealous. Nah. Bitch, you got to understand, bitch. I don't give a fuck about you, bitch. You said what, bitch? You fucking neighbor. So what the fuck you really trying to say, bitch? How many y'all been fucking?
Hey. Mirage said calm down, best friend.
Man, fuck that right now, man. Bro,
you got comb in here, comb, my brother.
I helped this bitch, bro.
Come on, bro.
Nigga going, man, I can't take this shit no more, bro. Damn. This bitch all fucking alive, bro. I told this hoe, bitch, you ever think about putting me on child support? I'm a kid ass. You gotta tell me you gonna put me on child support in another country. Cause if you ain't goddamn Texas, I'm a whack ass. Bitch, you can't tell me you gonna put me on child support and you in the motherfucking residential area of Texas. I'ma find you. And she fucking playing with me, but she gonna put my child in this shit, bro. And the girl don't know what the fuck going on running. She don't know, fam. She too fucking young to understand. She don't know what the fuck going on.
Coon said, fuck that bitch. The same thing we always tell you, man. Fuck that bitch, bro.
You niggas don't understand, bro. It ain't that easy.
You know why? Because we didn't fuck her raw.
I ain't fucking raw either.
How the fuck she get pregnant? You little nasty bitch.
I don't know what the fuck to do, bro. I don't know what the fuck to do, fam.
He said fuck child support too.
For your rich niggas, bro, that bitch, you know what, I really don't need, I don't need to.
Oh, Kiara. Oh, God, I don't know what the fuck he looking at. It ain't nobody in this motherfucker, boy. I don't know who the fuck he looking at.
Just fuck it, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know how fucked up it is for a child to grow up without not one motherfucker, but two motherfucking parents. I'm finna whack this bitch today, man.
You don't lie, bro. Don't say that shit,
Now,
bro.
fuck that lie, man. They probably rooting for that hoe. Fuck y'all. Fuck, bitch, if you gotta, fuck them hoes, man. Fuck them hoes.
Bro, you can't indict. You just indict, bro. What the fuck, bro? Now I can't even say the lie, bro, because you tripping. You tripping, bro. I can't even say the fucking lie now.
Man, fuck that shit. I bet there's some baby mamas on her who put their baby daddy through the same motherfucking shit. All you my hoes, ignorant, bitch. You got some niggas out here who try to be motherfucking good, but you hoes wanna play fucking games. I don't know why. You act like a nigga just won't bite your motherfucking name. I don't know what the fuck wrong with this hoe, man. Real shit, man. Get me out there live, bro. Come on, I'm about to lose my motherfucking mind, bro. Bro.
You need to put on some motherfucking socks too.
My nigga.
Put some socks on.
You know what this bitch just told me? $300. $300.
$300 what?
The bitch ain't paid a daycare fee, fam.
So nigga, that mean you gotta pay it? You gotta give us some more money. What she do with the $300?
I gotta give her some more.
What she do with the $300?
I don't know, but I'm finna use my next $300 to buy a new pistol and whack her motherfucking ass, nigga. That's what the fuck I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do.
So you still talking about?
I can't take it, bro. I can't take it, bro. Look how she do my baby, bro. Look how she do my baby. Bro, we fucking trying, bro. You know, they got time to fuck with this whole man. You ain't finna cry about this shit. I'm motherfucking dog, man. I'm motherfucking dog, man. Bitch, fuck that hoe, man. I'll whack both of their ass. Hold on, goddamn baby. We all be fucked up around this bitch.
All right, bro.
You see these broken marriages and these things that's happening. And I'm not talking about the fathers that are there that are fighting in family court. We're going to get to that. But I'm talking about the ones, I'm talking about the real deadbeats, the ones that really don't give a damn. The ones that's just like, hey, I got kids out there and I don't care. That's a curse. And then their kids have kids and their kids don't care about the kids they have. And this is the generational curses I'll be talking about. Y'all talking about generational wealth? You gotta get off of these generational curses first. You dig what I'm saying? Because your wealth is in the generation. That's where your wealth is. It's not in the money. No, that's a tool. It's in the generation. If a father has a son that is a fool, that's a disgrace. And that could be the end of his fortune and his gender. What if he owns a string of cleaners, a string of restaurants, and his son is a philanderer, lustful fool out here? Don't know how to vet women or anything like that, having kids, and what things gonna happen to his restaurants when that father passes on to the great beyond? I gotta peep game, man. So yeah, evil toward his wife, all of that. So I don't knock everything that happened in the past. I look at it through the lens of the truth. These things happen and they continue to happen. When are we gonna wake up to them? So let's get to the lady side. It says, Deuteronomy, this is verses 56 and 57. The tender and very delicate woman among you, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. So this is where you see these women raising these sons as son husbands. I've seen some disturbing videos. I'm gonna show some here. I've seen some disturbing videos of we've heard for 60 years about deadbeat fathers and men doing this, and men are dogs and men cheat. Now we're hearing about the precious stories, the mothers that sold their daughters to men for sexual pleasure, the mothers that knew that the men that they were dealing with their daughters and turned a blind eye, the mothers that were physically abusing their daughters or sons, turned their sons into son husbands and simps.
Dancing with his mom.
Attention after that woman live streamed what she claimed was the aftermath on Instagram and started a GoFundMe. Only KPRC2's Bryce Newberry is talking with the prosecutor on this case tonight.
Doesn't match her story.
Yo, this man just hit me in my face with a brick and all these black men just watched.
This video with more than 1 million likes on the Shade Room's Instagram page captured the moments after what appeared to be a brutal attack in West Houston.
Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face?
The woman is 33-year-old Rhoda Osman.
What? Let a man hit me in my face?
The woman is 33-year-old Rhoda Osman.
What have I ever done to anybody in my life to deserve this?
Seen
for Carly Russell in Alabama. It had search parties scrambling, but now she was saying it has all been a hoax.
Why? Why did she do this? Wake Up anchor, Fox 5 Wake Up anchor Dan Bowens has the very latest on her disappearance or lack of disappearance.
From Alabama claims she was abducted on July 13th after stopping to check on a toddler that was supposedly walking on the side of a highway. Investigators say Russell's 911 call remains the only report of a child on the interstate, despite numerous vehicles passing through the area at that time. And yesterday, police in Hoover, Alabama, relayed a statement from Carly Russell's attorney and confirmed she made the whole story up.
So, let's talk about how I told my mama I was being molested. And, boy, I tell you, when it's your mama. Okay, so, one instance, there was this guy, it was his friend. I always thought he was in the military because he always wore army fatigue. So me being a young child, I always thought he was in the military. When I say young, I was anywhere between 7 and 8, maybe. I don't know. He was like, hey, come in the bathroom, help me, change the light bulb. And I'm like, okay, And he stands me on the sink, and I look, it was one of them old school, lights where you have to reach your hand over the top to unscrew. And he got me standing on this sink, and I feel like, I'm too far off the ground, like I'm scared. And that's when I realized I was scared of heights. And he was like, oh no, I need you to help me. And I'm like, I'm scared. I want to get down. And at that very moment that I'm saying that, the bathroom doors open. And it's my mom standing there. And I'm like, Mommy, I want to get down. And she legit look at me, look at this man and say, all right, now give me my money.
Okay, so this woman was pimping out her daughter.
She shut the fucking door. I will never in my life forget that shit. When she shut the door, this man proceeded to finger me.
Damn.
And she let him do it. She knew what she had to, she knew what this man was doing. For years, like,
This is why in our culture as black people, when the boys turn a certain age, the men come and get him and take him away from the mother because she can emotionally manipulate him. But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
Nah, I'm not gonna let her treat me like I'm a little girl.
Okay, let me handle it.
I'm a grown-ass woman.
It's my mom.
Then handle it.
Nah, what's up? Why? What's up?
I mean, she's saying some little slick ass shit.
What did you say?
I walked in on, like, what's up? Nah, that was you talking on the phone. I heard you. Nah, that was you talking on the phone. I heard you. That was Myra? That's what you get for being fucking nosy.
Time out, though. Time out. I was outside. Both of y'all be quiet.
We can really go outside. Yeah, we can take this shit outside. Let's go. For real.
Mom, calm your ass down, bro. I'm fucking go to jail tonight, bro. Oh, both of y'all niggas tripping. Like, for real, bro. That shit.
Fucking mouth shut. Just because he gonna give you more children than he give me, you think you something fucking special? You brought that white bitch up in my house? Why would you bring that bitch up in here? I didn't bring her here. Well, why the fuck did she ring my buzzer? I can't hear you, Precious, since you got so much motherfucking mouth. And you had that smirk on your face, bitch. Get out the fucking here. Now smile about that. Smile about that, you fat bitch. I'ma kill you, bitch.
You look at a lot of these gay dudes, they came from these single mother homes. I've done stats on this. I mean, now the chickens have come home to roost, and this is why brothers and sisters, some sisters and some brothers were saying, stop championshiping single motherhood, because that's not the way it was intended to be, and the results aren't good. And the fight back was, oh, so you saying these women can't do it? No, I'm not saying they can't do it. It's extremely difficult to do it. Just like I said, you can ride your bike to work. You can do it, but you ready to do that 7 days, 6 days a week, 5 days a week, however much you work? You ready to do it? And so you can be strong and independent, or would you rather do it the easier way with a car? What would you rather do? So, yeah, they championship single motherhood, and they notice they only do it to black women. They don't go out. I mean, now it's spread it everywhere, because what happens to us, you notice where it happened, hit us first. Judgment starts with the house of Israel, then it hits other nations. But long ago, you weren't hearing this. When a woman would get pregnant in our community and they were unwed, they would ship them to Chicago. If they were in the north, they ship them to down south, let them have the baby. A lot of times they raise the baby as a sibling, and then they would move back up. So a lot of people would have like a mother that was more like a sister. And I've seen this happen with even in people in my family. Okay, so I'm telling y'all what was real. And if you look in your family, you'll see this. But this is a curse, family. This isn't anything good. Nothing is good about this. It says, and then it goes, evil toward her husband. You see the divorce rate, 70+%. Even I do not agree with it. The woman on woman unions, the divorce rate 75%. Then they hit y'all with feminism. I mean, right after we were free from bondage, the so-called white woman invited the so-called black woman to fight for women's rights. So you were just a slave. We were fighting for human rights. And they got you to fight for women's rights. Then they hit you again with it in the 60s with feminism and free sex. And now we're seeing the results of that now. Because now free sex is swipe right, swipe left. And where has it ended? Women are higher homeless. Women are higher give me started on abortions. Our number one killer is black people. But let me read about that part. And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet. This is talking about who they give birth to. For she shall eat them for one of all things secretly in the siege of straightness, wherein thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. So abortion is now what that is. You're eating up your child to the system. You're selling that fetus to the system so they can make hair creams and face creams and stuff like that. These curses follow us, man. Let's get to Jeremiah 9 and 19. Just in case people think it's just in one chapter. And I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his friend in the siege and straightness wherein their enemies, and they that seek their lives shall straighten them. So again, this is the Most High telling you what's going to happen. And it came to pass. He called it hundreds of years in advance. This is what makes the Bible different from all the other books. This is why they constantly remove the books and try to change names. This is why you need to look into it. Leviticus 26 and 29, you will eat the flesh of your own sons and daughters. And when us today, when you got mothers and daughters doing stripper pole activities, that's you eating the own flesh of your sons and your daughters. When you got these Pookies and Ray Rays out here throwing birthday parties with their sons with guns and money, even though they're fake guns and money, but still the sentiment is there. You're feeding your sons and daughters to the system. You're still doing it. Just not in this way. You're still doing it. You're still under the curses. What other nation is doing this? That's at the bottom. And you can say, oh yeah, well, white people do it. Yeah, okay, but yeah, at the same time, are they under these curses? Is all this stuff hitting them as hard as it's hitting us? Are they getting as much time in jail for the same crimes? Nope. Gotta wake up, man. 28, we're gonna go through Deuteronomy 28, 58 through 61. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law, the law's done away with. See why they tell you that? Because if they tell you that the law's done away with, they're gonna keep you ignorant, keep you doing this foolishness, and they'll stay on top. They'll tell you the law's done away with, right? If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Ahia thy power, then Ahia will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues of long continuance and sore sickness and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. All the stuff that was happening to the Egyptians when we were freed, because we disobeyed him. Now we're dealing with the same plagues. Think he took their cattle away, right? He was their firstborn was dying. Ain't that what's happening with us? Also, every plague and every sickness which is not written in this book. What is it called? The book of this law. The Bible's called the book of the law. Before it was called the Bible, in recent times, it's a new kind of phrase. It was called the book of the law. And the Testament, of course, in the New Testament. It was called the book of the law and the Testament. Them will the Most High bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. So this is why we lead in diseases. This is why. Exodus 15 through 26. I'm talking about 15 and verse 26. And said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Ahia thy power, and will do that which is right in his sight. Again, getting right with what he said, not with what your religion says, what he says. and will give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Most High that healeth thee. He says, if you listen, you won't have to deal with this stuff. We look everywhere else for a solution except the word. Because we think this is about so-called white people, right? We think this is about the so-called people in the land, right? Where have the people in the land went through this? Don't get me started with Egypt. We'll go in. Deuteronomy 28, 62 through 64. And ye shall be left few in number. Again, abortion, number one killer. We would have way more of us, right? Whereas ye were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Most High thy power. And it shall come to pass that as the Most High rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you, so the Most High will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people. Yes, we're in America, but trust me, this is not the only place. The Most High shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth, what does it say? Even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. This is us serving the cross, and this is us serving the stones. The stones of Catholicism and the stones of Islam. The Kaaba stone, excuse me. This is where it is. This is where we end up, Israel. Is it starting to formulate in your head that this is talking about people that ain't going to be ruling in the last days or at any time? This isn't talking about rulership. This is talking about curses. How can you be in rulership and under the curses? You got to pick a battle. But yeah, and people say, why would the Most High do that? If he created life, doesn't he have the authority to take it? He created heaven and earth. He could destroy the whole earth tomorrow. He made it. Who gonna stop him? You believe these movies Armageddon where they stopping asteroids from hitting us? If that's what's gonna happen, that's what's gonna happen. And just to let you know, ain't no asteroids gonna hit us. It's gonna be Yasha. That movie is when you see those asteroids destroying the earth, that's Yasha coming back with vengeance. Because the vengeance of the Most High, Yasha's gonna execute that vengeance. This is when in the book of Isaiah, when it says he will stomp through Edom. Notice it says he's gonna stomp through Edom, and his garments are gonna be dripped in blood. That's not they ain't no rapture. Ain't no rapture right there. You're lucky to be removed in that time if you're doing right. So yeah, man. I mean, and people say, well, why would he punish his own people? Why would he do this? The thing about it is this: there's a punishment for doing wrong in the world, and we accept that. We accept that if I go out here and I break into a car and steal it, and I'm driving down the street getting a high-speed chase with the cops in the shootout, and I survive it, I'm gonna deal with a punishment after that. I could repent, I could turn back to the Most High, I can do all that, but there's a punishment that's gonna come because of my action. This is called accountability. I can understand it as a father. If my son's act a fool, if I get a bad report or a call from school, there's going to be a punishment when I get they behind to the house. Do you understand, Israel? It don't mean I don't love them. I'm not going to destroy them because I don't have the power to, come on, why would I do that anyway? You know what I'm saying? But they're going to be punished. It's like any loving mother or father would do, any loving parent. That's what this is for us, from a higher power. And you can't overrule it. You can scoff, mock, not believe, fine. You're still, oh, I'm not an Israelite. I hear people stop being an Israelite after they trying to leave the truth. You can leave, but you can leave your understanding and belief system in the truth. You can leave that all day. You can't leave your bloodline. That's like me saying, oh, I'm not a black man anymore. Let me walk my behind outside. I identify as a white woman. I identify as a Mexican, Spaniard on the Spaniard side. How far do you think I get? That's how the Most High looks at you. You are who, they know who you are. Psalms 92:9. It says, for lo, thine enemies, O Ahiah, for lo, thine enemies shall perish, all the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. So it's just like the enemies when we were doing right, we're scattered and they perish for trying to violate us and violate our land and our people. When we violate the Most High, this is the punishment. He gonna punish his own kids more than he punished anybody else. Wouldn't you? Neighbor's kid could act a fool. You might be like, man, you might have some words. You know, you might tell their parents or something. You might call the cops. But let your kids do the same thing. You gonna do the same. You gonna just talk, have words, and you gonna do what you gotta do. It says here in Psalms 96:5, for all the gods of the nations are idols. That means when you dealing with that word nations in that verse, it's talking about Gentiles. For the gods of the Gentiles are idols, but the Most High made the heavens. So it's saying our power, our Creator made the heavens and earth. That all these other nations, what they're worshiping is idolatry. Look at the seizure of Beauger, idolatry. That's not what. First of all, that's not what Christ looked like. And that's a whole different gospel. Christianity is a whole different gospel. If it's telling you to observe Easter, it's a whole different gospel. If it's acknowledging Christmas, it's a whole different gospel. If it's acknowledging Thanksgiving, it's a whole different gospel. The Most High is not in any of those days. And that includes New Year's and Valentine's Day, all of them. He's not in them. Okay? Look at all these nations. They all deal with idolatry. The Most High wants us to follow him and his word and his commandments. He says it over and over. Is it sinking into you, Israel? Who is this talking about? We're not praying to walls and stones like they do over in the land. Are we called to do that? We're going to get more into what's going on over there. Let me finish out Deuteronomy 28:65 through 67. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Most High shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. It's why you like, dang man, no matter how hard we go, how much strives that we make, we can be doctors, we can be lawyers, we can be the athletes. You see Simone Biles doing a thing with Jonathan Owens. They're still getting flack, and you see people making strides in the fields of medicine. You see people making strides in IT and finance, and when we're still having to struggle. We're still having to struggle, and it's because of these curses that we are under, because we have not, even though we might have prospered in the world, we haven't prospered spiritually. Have you seen this? Have you seen a spiritual awakening with our people? I'll wait. Because religion ain't it. Religion ain't it. Because if it was, we wouldn't be under these curses. So yeah, sorrow of mine, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. I want to talk to some of you mothers that got sons out here. Don't you worry about their safety on a different level from a so-called Gentile nation, a so-called white woman, a so-called Asian woman, a so-called Arab woman? Now, do they worry about their sons? Of course they do. If they're decent mothers, of course they do. I'm talking to you sisters. I'm talking to you Israelite sisters that have sons out here, specifically sons. Do you worry about them? They might just be jogging down. They might do good in life, be jogging down the street in full gear, workout gear, maybe a hoodie, maybe a sweater on. And all it takes is for one somebody in that nice neighborhood to say something, do something, and their life could be over with. They call the cops, hey, yeah, there's a guy breaking into cars. He's describing what your son got on, athletic gear. And that cop could come and take him out. Does any nation think of it like that? Don't we have talks with our kids about when they get pulled over, the protocol? For you fathers, let me holler at you fathers for a second. You don't worry about your daughters? You don't worry about your daughters getting caught up out here? Maybe with some dude that can't take no for an answer. I ain't talking about like Brickface. I'm not talking about that. That wench is a liar. I'm talking about dealing with a man that has no control over himself, or being made a Sandra Bland. Isn't that something that we worry about? You see what happened to the black girl that went down to Mexico with her girlfriends, not even with men. Not, like I told my brother, I said, you don't really have to worry about the guys because you're in her life, so she knows that anybody she brings to you, you gonna measure up, and if they ain't right, she knows you're an upstanding man. I said, what you got to worry about is her homegirls, because her homegirls will say, hey, come tell your dad, you gonna come stay a week at my house, for the summer or spring break or whatever. And you might be thinking, oh, that's Clarissa, or I'm just making up a name, she gonna, I know her, and her mom and dad or whatever, but you might not know Clarissa's mom and dad may not be watching over her like you watching over yours, and Clarissa inviting boys over there. That's what happened with, I'm not saying that's what happened, but the girl that got killed in Mexico, the feds said we're not even gonna investigate it. Could you imagine if she was a blonde, blue-eyed Stacy, Catherine, Leslie? You think they would have did? Man, Mexico would have. Boy, Mexico would have got raided, boy. It would have been federales and flags flying. You think what's happening on the border now is a fool? Man, you don't even understand, bro. But yeah. So you don't have any assurance, not even on your own life, but of life of your children, because the curses continue onto the next generation, family. Thou shalt say, would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see, because you see these things happening. So even those of us that try to ignore this stuff, like, oh, this is just stuff that happens, it's different with us, man. It's different with us, because those other nations, when stuff happens to them, they get justice. They'll get laws passed. They'll get legislation. They'll get somebody to come in there and say, oh, we can't allow this to happen. Asian hate crime bills, stuff like that. They don't need a big Ukraine. They can just come over and get a loft and money and a spending card and health insurance, nigga. Where can you do that? Let's get it. Jeremiah 20:18. Where did I come out of the womb to see only trouble and sorrow, and to end my days in shame? Where does this fit the people who they're calling Israel? How does this fit them? The people who they're calling Israel, where are they coming out struggling? And this is what when I first started reading the word, like about over 10 years ago, I really started to read every chapter. The more I read, I'm like, man, it's talking about, because I'm thinking of it from the lens of Christianity, which is what I know, that those people are who the book is about. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to know what it really said. And as I'm reading through it, I'm like, man, it keeps talking about them being downtrodden, talks about them being ashamed, talk about them being beaten down, them being oppressed. Now, do they go through their thing? Like, yeah, I mean, every nation gets called names or whatever, and everybody's oppressed as a collective by the government. But when every verse is talking about, I don't see any verse where it says that they're going to be ruling, running the banks. They're going to be ruling in the time when Christ returns. I didn't see any of that. Then I got to this chapter. And then that's when it made everything clear. So then when I went back and read the other chapters, oh, yep, it precepts to this. That's why I said it's not just Deuteronomy 28. That's just the main chapter that encompasses everything. Well, not everything, all the curses that came upon the children of Israel is in that book. That's why your pastor will never read it. Psalm 90:9. For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told. That's what we are, man. Proverb and the byword. The story of the slave. See, now after this 400 years, you see an awakening start. And what do? They take that awakening and call it woke, and they try to push that on trans and all this other stuff. The awakening is for you, Israel, bump what they talking about. The awakening is for you to wake up to who you are. And understand there's going to be a remnant of those nations that's going to understand who you are. He always leaves a remnant. Remember that. So let's get to this last verse, man. Deuteronomy 28:68. And this is when I understood, once I started to speak on this, there's some black people that's never going to accept this because they still want to be part of the party. They want to be part of the world. They want to be part of the world. So they're never going to accept this. They're going to always take this with a grain of salt. What the Most High says here is he's talking about slave ships. He's talking about literal slave ships in the book of Deuteronomy. Let's read. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. So he's saying, I'm going to bring you into the way of Egypt. You might be like, Egypt? The Israelites never went back into Egypt as a collective, because it's not talking about a literal Egypt there. It's talking about bondage. This is why in the book of Revelations it said they'll be in an area that's spiritually Egypt and Sodom. I'm paraphrasing, but that's where the Israelites are going to be in the end days. Where does that describe? Egypt describes the slavery. Sodom describes the gay and the fornication thing that was going on. What land does that sound like it's talking about? Because they're talking about a land that's going to be leading in the example that the world is following. But he says he's going to bring into Egypt with ships. You don't need ships to get from Egypt to Israel. You don't need ships. Thou shalt see it no more again. That means you won't see this slavery is the last slavery that you're going to see. This is the last punishment. Because as I've read and showed you, throughout the scripture, captivity was a theme for the punishment of the children of Israel. It was a theme. Captivity with the Assyrians, captivity with the Babylonians, captivity with the Persians, captivity with the Grecians, and captivity with the Romans. He's saying the one you go to in ships, thou shalt see it no more again. Ain't no more captivities after this one. This is your last hurrah. This is your last chance to wake up. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So that sounds crazy. How can you be sold, no man buy you? He's talking about no man shall, that buyer is saved. Because in the law, when an Israelite will go into servitude, an indentured type of servitude, because we had nations around us, some of them would sojourn with us, some of them would wax rich. And let's say you have a brother or a cousin that will fall into debt with that nation. So what they would do is they would work it out for 7 years. That was a jubilee. That's why we need to follow the jubilee calendar. They would work for 7 years, just like Joseph worked for Laban for 7 years, another 7 years for Rachel and Leah and everything. So what happened was, if the debt wasn't covered before, maybe it was before the jubilee came and debts were cleared, you might have the money to pay off your cousin or your brother's debt. You could pay for their debt to be off, and they will come out and be able to do their thing on their own. They wouldn't have to serve this or whoever they were serving. He's saying this captivity, you're not gonna be able to do it. That's why I tell you, Negroes, no amount of money is gonna get you up out of this. Now, don't get me wrong, you're gonna need to save your money. That's the oil in your lamp, you know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be able to, like it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, money does have a use for things in the earth, many things in the earth. So I'm not here to say, oh, you don't need no money to keep that. Nah, bro, be successful, get your money. You need to save it. I spoke on this in my Wars and Kingdom, the End Time Kingdom Wars video about how you can just save a few dollars a day in a savings account and you can be all right. But people don't want to hear that. People just want to, play the scratch off. So let's get to Exodus 20:2. I am the Most High, your power, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. So Egypt many times was synonymous with house of slavery or house of bondage. Let's read again. Jeremiah 13:7. But if you do not listen, I will weep in secret because of your pride. When you tell them these things that they have to do to get back into the graces of the Most High, they're prideful. Pride was the first sin. Believe that. That's why the enemy fell, was pride. My eyes will overflow with tears because a highest flock have been taken captive. And as you can see in Egypt, on the walls, if you don't want to believe what the historians wrote and what the Egyptians wrote, even on their walls, where do you see the JW15 people? You know, they tried to whitewash the Egyptian walls. Why do you think they shot the noses off the Sphinx and off all the statues that they found around there? The JW15 people, I say it openly, were never in bondage in Egypt. They told Christ this in John chapter 8. They said we were never in bondage to any man. And they weren't. We were. They're serving a different power. If you can't see by now, I don't know what to tell you. So let's get into the conclusion about that other power that they're serving. So in the conclusion, y'all, Revelation 2:9, I know thy works and thy tribulation and poverty. He's talking to the house of Israel, the children of Israel. But thou art rich. So how do you go through tribulation and poverty? The tribulation is slavery. The poverty is through the oppression. He said, but y'all are rich. You're rich because of your heritage, your bloodline. They know who you are. He says, and then he says, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are JW15, which really they say they're the children of Israel. They say they're ish. They're not that, but they're ish. And are not. So they're saying they're the children of the Israel and they're not. But are what? But are the synagogue of Satan. Who worships in synagogues? This is Christ's words. He says, I know people that are going to say that they're the children of Israel, but they're the synagogue of Satan. We're not worshiping in synagogues. And this is an end time prophecy. This is the book of Revelation. This is the revelation of Christ. He's revealing what the end times are holding for the children of Israel and the entire world. It says it again in Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan. It says it again, which say they are Yehud. They say they are Yehudi. They say they are the children of Israel. And they are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet and to know that I have loved thee. This is what Christ is saying. He's saying these people ain't the people who they say they are, that they're lying. I'm not saying it. Christ said it. So do you not believe me? Or do you not believe Christ? Or do you just not believe the truth? Why don't you ask yourself why this verse isn't read in Christian churches? Why isn't this verse taught in seminary school? Why haven't you looked at the research where it shows that these people that are there have done bloodline tests and have no connection to the land whatsoever? This is what they're saying. I'm not saying it. Don't call this whatever. I'm just telling you what they're saying and what the word says. And what they're saying as far as what has come about. So I'm going to get to the last verse of this evening. This is Isaiah 1:3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass or the donkey his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider. He's saying the ox know his owner. The ox know where he's stationed at. It says the donkey knows his master's crib. He knows where he's stationed at. He knows where he belongs. He says, but my people Israel does not know. You don't even know. And the thing about it, you don't even consider it. That's what tripped me out about when I used to go out in the beginning of the ministry and preach this word. That they don't even consider it. I understand on the onset, because on the onset, when I first heard it, I'm like, really? I'm like, nah, man, I'm thinking maybe a person here, a person there. You know, maybe have a connection. But when I really looked into it, I'm like, man, this is the biggest secret that they're holding from mankind. And the Most High is showing you through all the tribulation. You see all the turmoil in the land. You see the earthquakes in diverse places. You see the civil unrest. You see all the protests. You see the governments falling apart, the financial collapse. It's going to come about that we are the children. And what you need to do is get in line, get that oil in your lamps, get ready for what's coming, get your family ready, and get your houses in order. That's your best bet. That's not what I'm saying. That's what the Father's saying. So with that being said, Israel, pass this message along. We're going to keep it pushing, and we're going to be kicking down doors all 2024. So get ready for it. With that being said, Shabbat Shalom, and peace unto you.
Dirty rags straight from the mud, came out the potter's house. Tell me what is they talking about? Speaking scripture, then I'm about you. The curses youngest be bustin', still on they mama's couch. Nothing but some tennis shoe hustlers, tell where you hiding out. Stop a show with me and Shy told you a long time ago. I drive it slow and nigga don't gas him, no local kind of code. Shopping O's and blocks with a stroll, right with them cops patrol. Bullets miss the nigga by inches of higher, got my soul. How to go with chasing after carrots, silly rabbit. By those who blaze, he shoot a stitch of fabric. Just imagine, young Bacon's turning to carrots. This drama be cinematic. What's poppin', is it cracking? Apartments to many mansions. You back, I probably parted with a whole mob of assassins. That Godfather with bandage, Abba Father we damaged. Caught a charge for a sandwich. Bow guard on the Sabbath. So far, all this madness just got your boy falling backwards. Silent weapons for silent wars, nigga. Hey. Slide down 35, quiet as hearses ride. Certain eye, chosen by the one who determined time through burning fire. Dead or alive, outlaw, boxing them southpaws. Suited up in fatigues, heavy armor, they letting rounds out. Follow Yasha doctrine, might bleed the west out this eagle's nest. Let's pause for the reset, buying choppers and V-necks. Reading best, but no DJ Khaled. Romans then raided Caesar's palace. My pineal gland that provides an advantage. Squares, ask around about all of my prior habits. Pirated traffic, out in the trap, out again while I was slamming. Sister blasting, hitting them harder than Mr. Busy Carter. Can't tell the difference often from thugs and them prima donna bosses. They slave traded our prophets, this what a Holocaust is. Just think, Yasharala, what did all of this cost? These walkers, but you holler, you conscious, hot in August. Harbor to harbor, sharks in the water, then Sodom Gomorrah.